RAF advanced during the night hours and were witnessed by residents of Rafah in several areas near the city's core, including in proximity to the Al-Auda Mosque.
A pilot survived the crash of a developmental version of an F-35 fighter shortly after taking off from the Albuquerque International Sunport.
Lockheed Martin was in the process of delivering the aircraft to Edwards Air Force Base in Southern California.
The Vatican issued an apology on behalf of the Pope following reports that he used a homophobic slur during a meeting with Italian bishops. 7 people were injured, including 1 critically, and 2 people remain missing after an explosion rocked downtown Youngstown, Ohio, officials said.
The explosion occurred near Central Square Tuesday afternoon, police stated, urging people to avoid the area.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guest and should not be
Albuquerque.
interpreted
What
as
the hell is an
statements of fact.
Albuquerque?
Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
Albuquerque.
Get some coffee in here, please.
That's right. Albuquerque. I said it. There you go. I said it. I said it and I'm not taking it back.
Damn good coffee. And hot.
Mind Dog is your mind's best friend.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with the Dog. You make me laugh.
Oh, you're watching me? Watching me look at the phone. All right, come on. God, this song is just too long. I'm going to have to fire the band. I'm going to have to fire everybody, including me. We're all fired. Good morning, folks. It is, what is this? Thursday, May 30th, 2024. 38 years ago today, my son was born. And listen, I'm not going to get too much into this, but I was thinking about this. My generation was the first generation where dads were not just encouraged, but almost forced to be in the delivery room. Before that, my father's generation and my uncles and my older brother, they were allowed, and they were not just allowed, but they were celebrated as when the time to have the baby, the woman went into a room, you never saw her, you were in the waiting room, maybe you went to the bar, got some cigars, hung out with your buddies. So my generation was the first generation that was not only encouraged to be part of the process, but almost forced at gunpoint to be part of the process. And I think the world was a better place when we didn't have that. Now, I'll just going back 38 years ago, this time in the morning, my wife at the time, her water broke. It's time. She's going into labor. She was already like a week late. And so we drove to the hospital and we were admitted, and hours went by and she still wasn't ready. She wasn't ready to give the baby up. She was just holding on to that thing like, I'm not going to have it. I'm just going to. And, you know, all the things that they said in Lama's class, they say she was going to get really angry and hateful and say things she doesn't mean. Yeah, all of that. She was screaming. She was angry. I was getting abused. Hours went by. Now, the Mets were playing the Atlanta Braves. I put that on 1986. This is the Mets' glory year. Their last really glory year. The Mets were the best team in baseball by far, and it was only May, but they were already like 5-7 games in first place, ahead in first place, and on their way to being 40 or 50 games. It was ridiculous. But I was a huge Met fan. The game was at 7 p.m. And as the day went on, all I'm thinking about what time the game is tonight. I couldn't wait to get out to see the game. Or I listened to the game on AM radio in the car. That's basically how it went. So finally, at 7:00, my son was born. And first pitch was 7:05, and I was out there to get this first pitch because now, once the baby's born, they take the baby away. You're going to clean it up, clean mom up. And you're okay for a while as a father. And I don't know if that's still, but they let you have like a half-hour respite for the father. So I went out to the car, listened to the game, and Dwight Gooden was on the mound, and Dale Murphy. This is what I remember about the day. Dale Murphy hit the first pitch, 410 feet, but not quite a home run. It was caught up against the wall, and that was good. So basically, and then you go back inside and you meet your child for the first time, and that was just. And you call your friends, and you say, "Yeah, it's a baby. I can't wait to get out of here." See, the thing was, you leave your wife in the hospital, and then you have the best days of your marriage, all complete, because there is nothing like coming home and saying hello, and nobody answers. Oh, I got the house to myself for 2 whole days, really. They don't do that anymore. I think they send them home the same day. But this is my remembrance of the good old make America great again. That's the one issue where I would go back in time, and I would go back to the greatest generation and say, fathers shouldn't even be in the delivery room. I know ladies are going to hate me for that, and I don't care because what are you going to do to me? I'm already in jail. So, fuck you. Anyway, GD's not with us here today. GD had another colonoscopy. He has more colonoscopies than any ass on the planet. I don't know if he's really having a colon. GD is like he's like secret agent man when it comes to taking his days off. He doesn't tell you what it's really about. I know he's having medical procedures. Oh, he hasn't told me he's having a medical procedure. But I know he is, but he's not saying what it is. And so as long as he's not going to tell me what it is, I'm going to call it a colonoscopy and let him deal with that. But he's not here. But Stephen is back. Stephen is back today, and Ron is here, and we are going to be talking in the first hour about gay divorce. And it's a subject I have some thoughts on that will get me in more trouble. And then in the second hour, we have a mob guy who is also an FBI informant. Guy named Aiden Gabor, who was he's an author now, but according to his bio, he was a teenager who had already done enough crime, including murder, that they flipped him as a teenager in the mob and was working as an FBI undercover informant. Sounds crazy, right? Yeah. He's not going to show his face. Did I say that? It's going to be not like one of these, undercover, unsolved mysteries where the guy's all in silhouette. No. He's going to be like turn his camera off, and we're just going to have audio with him because I guess he's still worried about the mob. Which you know what, the mob as I know it ended 38 years ago or so, around that, 1986, 1988, somewhere in there. So we'll talk to him now. We'll find out about this mob story that we're going to hear about. Anyway, right now, let's learn about, you know what? I haven't pushed dildos in a long time, and I have a feeling that the GD's doctor is pushing a dildo at exactly this moment. So why not? Tracy's dog. Let's
Hey there, I'm Mr. Geronimo, product manager for Tracy's Dog. What is Tracy's Dog? Well, For $50, we send you a high-quality sex toy right to your door. Yeah, $50. Are our toys any good? No. They're f***ing amazing. Yeehaw! Each toy is made with body-safe silicone. We are constantly evolving and innovating our product line. They are built for one thing, to shake your world with orgasms you ain't never seen before. Do you like spending $100 for your sex toy? 80 of it goes to retail. What about bumping into your family while at the sex toy shop? Good taste. Get the pleasure you deserve without broadcasting your secrets. And think of all the money we're going to be saving you.
Whoa. Hi, Ron.
Oh, I forgot me.
Oh, there's Matt.
I forgot me to be here. GD's not here, so I'll do it. Mind Dog TV, the site's fucking down. Still, I'm going to kill a Vietnamese kid.
He get top 2. Flashbacks.
Yeah, so, breaking news, Donald Trump has been found not guilty, acquitted on all charges, and that's your fake news for today. Now, it's fake news as of this moment, but it could be true, and then a lot of people are going to be ready to fucking hang themselves. The people who are already celebrating Trump going to jail on Twitter, they are not going to take it well if any of this stuff. Come on, think about it. Think of America right now. You think you can find 12 people and all 12 of them are going to be fair-minded and not in the cult? I don't have any faith in that at all. So, good morning, fellas.
Good morning, man. You know what? As I saw the Trump news trickle in yesterday, I was already on the same side as you, as he's probably going to be acquitted or a mistrial. But if they didn't come up with a decision on day one, I don't feel like they're going to hit it.
Well, here's the thing. The Republicans have no fucking shame, and the pundits and they have no shame in deliberately, like, bold-faced lying to the people, and you know those people are going to believe everything. So Marco Rubio came out and said the judge gave them instructions that said all they have to do, 4 people only have to find them guilty, and that means, and I'm going to say it's a unanimous verdict. That never happened, and that spread like wildfire. It was all over Twitter like in 10 minutes. I had to go get the transcript of the instructions and say, "Where? Show me, Marco, little man. Show me in there where it says that. You lying fuck. You won't take it back." Trump comes out and says there were so many witnesses that weren't called. Like it's the prosecution's job to call his superstar witnesses that were gonna, and people are believing that. Like, so the cult is ready to fucking believe anything that they say, and they don't care
man.
About lying. So.
Yeah, it's scary, and the fact that he still has a chance if he gets through this to be president is mind-boggling.
Yeah,
mind-boggling.
Yeah. I don't think this is going to go well today. I think it's going to come down today because they asked to reread the jury instructions, and like I read them, it's not that fucking complicated, and the jury instructions were very fair to Trump. You know, he went out of his way to say you can't. You know, and all this is part of the legal system anyway. They always say that you can't assume he's guilty because he didn't testify against himself and all that kind of stuff. But if you read it, if you actually read the instructions, it seemed like he was, you know, urging them to be as fair to the defendant as possible. But out of 12 people, I don't think I could find 12 people. And one or two of them wouldn't be hardcore cultists right now.
Yeah. So. It's not going to be this week though. They got to reread testimony and things like that.
Well, when they're asking for instructions, that generally means that was the hang up. Like, what do we do here? I think they're going to have one. I think it'll come before lunch today. It will come during this program. They'll say
I have the live feed for the trial open. So. As it comes through, if I will bring the late break.
Ron shaking his head at me. I'm not going to ask him to bet because he's going to give me the same line that GD gave me. I have inside information. I can't do it, but I don't have a bet on games I know. the outcome of. But I'm telling you,
if
trust me on this. I've never been wrong once in my life. Not ever. Not anything.
If GD was here, he'd be quoting the Geneva Convention and stuff on why this is a bad thing.
That's right. Were you guys? You guys were maternity ward dads, right? Did you watch births?
Yeah.
Now, is it the same as I described it? Like, because they let you go for like after the baby's born, you get like a little break, and then and then you're allowed back in. You meet the baby, you see the wife all cleaned up, and then you go home. I went home for 2 days without my wife.
No. I slept in the hospital for like 4 days.
You got to wait and take her home.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, because when we went, it was like they had just built like a new maternity wing, so they had everything set up in there, so you could, they had a chair for dad and stuff like that, so you could hang out.
Yeah, very similar situation. Ours had a brand new maternity ward, so we had a futon bed, 2 TVs, the works. Yeah.
See, if there's anything that we could roll back on America, I would. That's what I would want to roll back on, is this idea of I did my job. I planted the seed. I'm not the harvester. And because they asked, do you want to see the baby's head coming out? I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I would rather watch, I don't know, somebody taking a shit and watching the shit come out of their ass than watch a baby come out of, because I'm gonna want to get back in that someday.
Did it make you uncomfortable that something bigger was coming out than ever going in? Is that what the problem was?
I don't want to see it that close and with all those bright lights. I like it dark. I like it, the room dark. Let's turn off the lights, give me a little mood lighting, put on Barry White, whatever. I don't want to see a vagina with bright light. Like, hey, it's showtime. I don't want that.
To be fair, though, when you guys were having babies, you could still smoke in hospitals. So things were a little different.
No, that was when I was born. Not by the time I became a father. No, but my father's generation, they never even had to go into the room. And they basically drop her off. Don't even go in the hospital. Just open the door, let her get out herself, and basically drive away. Like the airport is now since 9/11. So you could just drop somebody off at the curb and
drop her off for unloading.
Those were the good old days. I mean, I'm not big on the whole MAGA stuff, but that's the one thing I would turn the clock back on, where you could just pull up, open the door, push the wife out, and say, "Go ahead." We'll push it out. I'll meet the kid in a few days.
Bring him home when he's 2.
Now, did either of you have relationships with your grandfather who talked about the good old days when people were born and they didn't have any?
My grandfather was super, super racist, so we didn't really have a whole lot of conversation. But when your dad was born, this colored lady came in, and I was like, "Okay, Grandpa."
No, he was pissed that they were having black babies in the same hospital as they were having white babies.
Oh yeah, he was not okay with that, and the black nurses not okay with that either.
Wow.
Yeah, the grandfather I knew, like, through my stepdad, because I'm part Italian, so it was always like kind of like racial Italian humor. He's like, I don't want any of that wop slop over here tonight.
So, with you being half Italian, does childbirth ruin all marinara based foods for you?
No, it didn't bother me at all. It was just like, oh, this is something I have to do today.
I couldn't eat SpaghettiOs for like a month after that. So,
well, my brother and I both agree on the greatest feeling in the world, even better than sex, better than anything, is coming home and saying hello, and it's quiet, and nobody answers. And you're like, yes, there's pizza in the house. So there's that. Now we're going to meet our first guest. We're going to talk about a couple of things. Gay marriage. Now, when gay marriage was first a major issue that people were talking about in the politics thing, I was like, fuck them. Why should they get off easy? Of course they should be married. Why should they get away with having to not get married, to be able to have sex and never be pressured to be married and all that kind of stuff? fuck them. You know what? If I gotta deal with this, they gotta deal with this.
They should be as miserable as the rest of us.
That was not a popular opinion, by the way. But so I never understood homophobes who were against it. It's like, if you really hate gay people, you should want them to be married. You should want them to experience all the hatred and anger that you have to deal with. But we're going to talk about gay divorce today, and I'm wondering what's different. And we're going to find out from because he when he first decided he was getting a divorce, he went to look for a book on gay divorce and found out there was none, so he decided to write it. But does it need a whole book? It just had divorce is divorce, right? Or maybe not. Love is love. Divorce is divorce. But well, we'll let him talk about what it meant to him and how different it is than heterosexual divorce. I don't think it is. Carl Dunn is the author of How to Burn a Rainbow, his first book about queer divorce. I don't, that's not a word I'm supposed to be allowed to say. It's like, what, if whatever. He's here now. Let's meet Carl Dunn. Good morning, Carl.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
I'm okay. I started this show talking about 38 years ago. My son was born, and it was a very uncomfortable situation for me because I was the first generation that was forced at gunpoint to go into the delivery room.
Oh, okay. All right. I mean, I'm actually the second kid. I've got an older brother, and my dad missed my brother's birth because it was kind of difficult, and they were like, "You got to be out of the room." So for mine, like, he really, really, really wanted to be there for it. And so the doctor had it was all lined up, like everything. My mum went into labor, kind of middle of the night stuff. They rang him because he was on night shift. Comes running over the hospital, but it all happened so fast. I was like, out. I was out before he could even get there, and he's like,
Yeah, no,
So
my
dad-
son was torturous. I was explaining this from 9 a.m. We got to the hospital around 9 a.m. She finally had the baby at 7:03, and I had a Met game coming on the radio at 7:05. I was really that's my concern. Anyway, it sounds like are you in the U.S. or are you in the U.K.? With that accent, I'm just trying to figure out.
I'm actually from Australia originally, way back,
Nice.
but I live. Yeah, I'm in New York actually at the moment.
New York. Okay, good place. Now, you were divorced in 2017 because I don't remember New York when gay marriage ever got legalized in New York. I thought 2017 was around the time. Maybe it was before that. I don't.
It was a bit before that, yeah, a little bit before. Yeah.
So now this is where it gets interesting for me because I actually I videotaped a gay wedding that before it was legal. This is going back probably 15 years now. It was a love story, and I did this whole documentary on these two guys. They were in the hairdressing business. But it was a love story and all. But it was not legal yet. But they were still calling themselves man and wife or whatever. Married couple.
Husbands.
Yeah, husband, man and husband. Whatever. But so it wasn't legal then, but they were still married. And common law kind of, but not common law didn't even cover it. It was a weird thing. And I always thought, like, why not? Why shouldn't gay people have to suffer as much as heterosexual men have to suffer? Again, that was not a popular opinion at the time. Probably still not a popular. Yeah, but how long? First of all, before the divorce, how long were you looking forward to that and getting married and all that?
Yeah, I mean, I'd been down in 2008 at the Prop 8 rallies in San Francisco. I was living in LA then, and I flew up for it. And, I did all the things that we were all doing, trying to fight for marriage equality. And then I met the man who became my husband. I met him, probably the year after 2009. So we were together for 8 years altogether. We were boyfriends for 2 years. We'd moved in together. Then we were registered domestic partners for 4, and then married for the last 2. And yeah, I mean, I honestly, one of the big reasons why I did it was I felt like I should do it, because we'd fought so hard to get this right that it's like, well, at the time I thought we're going to be together forever. So I thought, yeah, let's do this, And I think for us as a community, the focus of it, and I speak for myself here, but I think this would ring true for a lot of same-sex couples, is we were all focused on the fact that we were told we couldn't have this thing, that it was put
Right.
behind barbed wire, and then your focus, like when you're a minority and you're fighting against a larger section of the population who say you can't have something, you focus on the barbed wire, not on actually what the thing is. And I think we didn't ask nearly enough questions about marriage and what it was and what it meant to us. We just kind of went into it, like by default, I think, in the way that a lot of heterosexuals just kind of default go into marriage because you're supposed to do that. We did it because we fought for it, we won it, now we're doing it. And then I got in it and I'm like, yeah, I don't know about this. Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is and we should do a social experiment with that kind of idea. Outlaw something or make it prohibit something that we know is going to just really be hell for people, and see how hard they fight to get that hell. Uh, but
it works.
proponents of gay marriage always talk about the divorce rate among gay people is far lower than heterosexual people, and I'm like, give it time. They haven't had time to learn to hate each other yet.
And I mean, honestly, most of the people who got married in that first wave, there were couples who'd been together for years already. So, it's not a fair comparison yet. Like you say, it's going to take time. We kind of need to see, what do people who are growing up and turning into their 20s now, how do they go with it? It's
right.
Yeah, because I mean,
as a teenager,
my partner and
I a friend of mine his father was caught cheating on his wife, and we were in a side room, and the mother was yelling at the father, like, and they didn't know we were there, and we were in a side room, and then the father came walking out, and he saw us, and he saw his son there, who was one of my best friends. He looked at him, and he just said, "Man is not meant to be monogamous." And now I thought, wow, that's a really harsh thing for a father to say to a 15-year-old son when you're really impressionable. But I always think now, because divorce is so prevalent in society, it doesn't matter whether you're heterosexual or homosexual or what. I think that is a growing truth. I don't know if it was necessarily true 150 years ago. Maybe the pressures to stay together were so strong. What do you feel about monogamy? Is the human race built for monogamy?
Well, that's a great question. I personally don't think so. I think we are not really meant to just mate with one person for the rest of our lives. I don't think that's in our programming. But I think marriage was created as a technology to kind of, really the origins of it were to secure bloodlines and property and keep all those things safe and pass them down through the years. But yeah, I think so many marriages split up because of infidelity, because people want, something outside. I think it's kind of natural for us to want others. That's my personal feeling about it. But I mean,
I was thinking about it yesterday, knowing we were going to have this discussion today, and I feel like it was probably because I always thought that the idea of marriage was probably invented by women, but then as I was thinking about it yesterday, it was probably invented by men who were just territorial. I don't want anybody touching my woman, and like, guess what? You don't have any choice in the matter. You can put a ring on it.
I mean, it was definitely about property, and often women were the property in marriages historically. I mean, before the church even got involved in it, before governments got involved in it, they were usually contracts. People weren't even having weddings per se; they were just contracts drawn up between two families. And okay, so now we're a couple, and that's that bloodline secured, and that's this property secured. But no, I think honestly, we're all humans, and we're all we all have our foibles. It doesn't matter if you're gay or straight. And I can tell you that same courthouse that I was lined up outside. I talk about this in the book, in How to Burn a Rainbow. That I was lined up outside the very same courthouse I'd been protesting at in 2008. I was lined up there in a line of people waiting to get in for our divorces, and I mean, it was every age, gender, ethnicity, income level. Divorce is the great equalizer. And there were probably even people in that line who'd voted against my right to get married, and here we all are, all in the
Wow.
wreckage of our marriages. And I thought, this is so interesting how, and there was no one there protesting my right to a divorce. No one. No one was there, like, not like the first time around. We got like divorce equality for free. And actually that was interesting, because what becomes really apparent with divorces is that the law is written for the battle of the sexes as they stood at the end of the 80s and 90s. And so when you put a same-sex couple through those laws, it starts looking like this doesn't make a lot of sense for two guys with no kids. It's really interesting the way the law is written.
Yeah.
And if you are the one who earns more and the one who earns less, which is how they term it, like which we know for all the wrong reasons, because women don't get the same opportunities and are expected to, paid less, expected to give up their careers. The one who earns more is almost always the man, and the one who earns less, the woman. But in divorce law, there's very much a need to protect those women. And so the laws, to protect them against guys who would just leave them and their kids and abandon them. And I know those guys. They're the guys that used to beat me up in high school. I'm well aware of who these dudes are. So those laws, for those reasons, I mean, I get it. I'm fully for it. But when it's two guys, you're like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, no woman was harmed in our marriage or in our divorce. No woman was harmed anywhere near it. So, yeah, it was a very
disclaimer.
strange
We need that
experience.
for this program. No women were harmed in the taping of this program.
Well,
but that would
I
be a
haven't heard the
lie.
rest of it, so I don't know.
That would be a lie, because the women are heard every day. Every time I open my mouth, I heard a woman. So I guess we can't live up to that disclaimer. But I would think human nature being what it is, the people who were dead set against you getting married would be celebrating the fact that you got divorced. And look, I told you they can't. Look, they failed. They failed at it. Any of that?
I mean, actually, this is an interesting story that I write about in the book. When I got divorced, my community has no experience with it at all. So my friends were super supportive, but they didn't know what I was going through. There's zero, stuff at workplaces for people going through divorces. I think it's actually the greatest mental health crisis that's unaddressed in the workplace. So I was kind of floundering around with mine, but the straight guys at work who'd been divorced, those guys saved my life. I was introduced to the Straight Guys Divorce Club, and I'm telling you, man, that's the closest I've ever been to being in Fight Club or AA. It was, those guys were incredible. Like, there is nothing one divorced guy won't do for another guy who's going through it. And like the wisdom, tactics, support, like just to talk to people they've been through it. They know what to tell you to do. And again, it kind of goes back to that point of divorce being the great equalizer. It just showed me, like, it feels exactly the same for us as it does for straight guys. We have our nuances and our differences. I mean, there are other kinds of loss that we go through that straight guys don't, but it was a powerful experience, mate. And what was interesting is my divorce helped me lose my kind of lifelong fear and mistrust of straight guys. Because once you're in the trenches with them, once you're all in the same, you're survivors of the same shipwreck, none of the gay straight stuff matters at all. You're just like people trying to get through it.
Wow. Now you went looking for. I didn't go. Most hetero guys I know, when we got divorced the first time, didn't need a book.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know anybody who thought, well, I should read a book on divorce. But you did. You went looking for a book on divorce.
Yeah.
Why? Why did you feel you needed that?
Because I didn't know what to do. Like I said, we've got no experience. Like heterosexuals, like they've been divorced, or their brother or sister has been divorced, best friend's been divorced. Like, it's really in your world. It's funny. I was talking with a friend of mine last night, and when they got married, they realized they didn't know how to cut the cake. They're supposed to feed it to each other. Like, the rituals around it, we're not, I mean, heterosexuals have been to tons of weddings. They've seen friends through tons of divorces. Like, you guys know it. We had no clue. And I thought, I really need to find a book on this, and I couldn't find one. So I was keeping a video diary just of personal revelations I was having. And then this friend of mine, Brian, who's a huge character in the book, Brian said to me, like, he looked at some of these videos, he's like, y'all need to put this in a book, Queen. And, so here we are. So I wrote this book. But what it has done, and I'm really proud of, is my original idea was so that no same sex, like no gays or lesbians would have to walk through this experience feeling like they were the only one that it had ever happened to from our community. So it did that job, because a lot of people have written to me on Instagram now, which is wild. Like, you put a book out and people start writing to you. It's like, whoa. But what it's doing that I'm so proud of is it's like we're just all going through it in some way, shape, or form, whatever it might be in our lives, right? And this book is, because the divorce kicks off a journey to figure out who I am. It's like an eat, pray, love. And that part of the story is speaking to so many people from so many different backgrounds, going through totally different things to what I did. And the stuff people are writing to me, I'm like, oh my God, like, this book's really helping people from all over in all kinds of life situations. So, I mean, how wild is that? What a privilege. A gay divorce book that,
it's unexpected, bright points or positive points that come out of things. I'm for all for unexpected goodness
right
in the world.
Yeah.
But let me just kind of explain what I went through and see if there are parallels, because when I first got divorced, first of all, I'm kind of old generation, and basically I didn't. We decided we were getting a divorce, but I like in most marriages, hetero marriages at the time, the guy doesn't do anything. The woman has to do all the work. You do it. I'm not doing any work. You let me know what you want to do, all that kind of stuff. So I didn't need a book. I was just going about my life and waiting for her to tell me she had a lawyer. Okay, I'll go get a lawyer and talk to your lawyer. And but we went through this really contentious thing where we hated each other for probably about 5 or 6 years or so. We had children together, and that, child support and all that stuff. And it was like after I was done paying child support, like my son was 18, we started to become friends again, because there was not this holding this thing over your head. So, but now, 38 years later, we are, I would say, good friends. I care about her genuinely. Did you go through that hate period, or that like we hate each, and hate is not too strong a word for we just could not be anywhere near each other. We didn't like each other. We couldn't stand each other. Don't talk to me, that kind of stuff. Did you go through any of that?
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, definitely all of that. I was hoping at the beginning we were going to, I thought, okay, if we can't be a shining example of a gay marriage, maybe we can do divorce really well. Maybe that could be our thing. So I was hoping for something amicable, but it didn't turn out that way. And we were lawyers at 10 paces in no time at all. And it got as ugly as you ever hear about divorces getting. And I'll own my 50% of that. I mean, if your viewers read the book, you'll find out I did a lot of things I'm not proud of, but the book is about, a lot of it is understanding why I went through what I went through. But we don't talk now, and I don't think we ever will again. It's not really how I would have liked it, but I think after what we did to each other, I don't think we could be friends again.
How long?
Maybe I'm wrong.
How long is it?
Gosh, we finished our divorce, finally resolved in 2018. It took 18 months. And quite a few people commented. Yeah.
You're still a newbie, kind of. I mean, I would say probably, and I don't know you, I don't know him, but I would say somewhere along the line, 10, 15, 20 years from now, you'll kind of say, you know what, we went through too much to just hate each other. Maybe we could be nice to each other, just civil to each other, and then that might lead to actual, I cared deeply about you at one point. Why am I holding this bitterness, whether it's you or him or whatever? But I do think time heals a lot of that, and the silliness of resentment and hate goes away over time. At least in my case, it did. In many cases. No.
My divorce experience was a lot different, but
How long has yours been?
No, our divorce was finalized on our first court date, but leading up to it was absolute hell.
Yeah.
A lot of abuse on her end and all that stuff. And when it came to court, we were like, nope, done.
Yeah.
So have you? Oh, go ahead.
Go on, mate.
No, go ahead. You were going to comment something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we'll be in contact with each other again. But something I write about in the book, because often what can happen in a lot of divorces, and maybe friends of yours have gone through this as well, is you end up just talking through lawyers, and you kind of had this idea that when this is all over, there'll be the final conversation. Like you'll have that final conversation, and we didn't have kids to tie us together. And then one day it's finalized and it's done, and you get told by your lawyer, and then you're like, wait, is that it? Is that it? That's it? And they're like, yeah. And you're like, hang on. And there's no final scene. There's no final conversation. There's no nothing. And something I write about in the book is how I got okay with that, because you have to come to some sort of feelings of peace about your relationship and how it ended, but on your own. Because you're never going to speak to them again. And even if you could, and you've got questions or things you want to say, it's not going to land the way you want. You're not going to get the answers you necessarily want either. So you have to figure out how to be okay with it alone.
Now, was your ex-husband also from Australia?
No, he was American. We met and got married in California. And
I was just curious because
we're just the worst state to get divorced. Anyone listening, don't get married and divorced in California. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Well, the reason I ask is because I absolutely love your accent. I
think Steven is considering converting.
I love accents, and I could just imagine if both of you with your accents were arguing, I still think it would just sound so pleasant to the ears. There's just something about the accent.
You'd be sitting there with popcorn. It's like, no, you guys keep going. Yeah.
I could hear you read the ingredients off of a package, and I would just sit there and listen.
Mate, thank you. Thank you. Well, there will be an audio book of How to Burn a Rainbow at some point.
Are you reading it?
That when I'm back. Yeah, I'll be reading it. Yeah.
I'm your teacher,
back from tour,
and I find you attractive.
Well, thank you very much.
Now listen, I'm not gay by any means, but I will tell you what, right now with that accent, we could probably work something out. I swear to God.
Well, my friend Mishka got married. I call my friend, somebody I know, Mishka Shubali, got married last weekend, and I have to say, I was kind of hoping he was gay, only because. And I'm not gay, but if I ever decided that I wanted to go that way, it was good to know that he was out there, because he's the most handsome man I've ever known.
We all have that one friend we go to if you turn gay. Absolutely.
I think every straight guy has that one little kind of gay crush where it's like, if I was,
I have a list.
That'd be the
I have a list.
Yeah, everyone's got one. Everyone's got one.
Yep. I got it. And actually, you know what? Because of the accent, I'm going to tell you right now. 2 of them are also Australian. Keith Urban and Hugh Jackman. All day.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, Hugh Jackman. Yeah.
Now that would be anyway. Has any I shouldn't say any, but have many straight men read the book and left a positive review about it?
Yeah, I'm actually. Some of the things people have written, I think one of them really surprised me. This guy read the book and he wrote a beautiful review. I mean, he's actually a writer himself, so it was gorgeously written. But he said this thing, now I can say without hyperbole that How to Burn a Rainbow has changed me. And he's a happily married guy raising 2 kids. There was another friend of mine who's again happily married. To his wife. He's raised 2 adult kids out of the house. And he read my book and he said, by the time I finished your book, I knew you a lot better, which I was expecting. But he said, the thing that really surprised me was I knew myself better. I knew my wife better. And I understood our relationship and our marriage in a way that I never had before. And he said, that was not what I was expecting to get out of your book. So yeah, a lot of straight guys have also thanked me for writing about what it's like for them, because there's definitely episodes with me in the Straight Guys Divorce Club where I hear stories from them about what they've gone through. And, you know, they're like, thank you. Like even a heterosexual woman who read my book who's divorced, she said, you know, I finished your book and I have a lot more empathy for my husband now. Like I couldn't hear it from him, but I can hear it from you.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I was just thinking as you were talking about how this book, and I admittedly have not read the book yet, but it sounds like it could mend the divide that extreme homophobia, not even the because homophobia is different than homo hatred, and there's a segment of America that might not want to admit it, but they hate gay people. And I think if understanding that we go through the same experiences in life, it could, mend those bridges in some way, and be a positive thing for people
I hope
who
so.
need to kind of drop that hatred. But there is a whole political movement who would want to burn the book for just if it does that.
Well, it's
Yeah.
this is true. This is true. But
Yeah.
I'm my hope is that people who really don't like us, maybe they see an excerpt of it online somewhere, or maybe even quietly buy the book, maybe just to read it themselves. But
Yeah.
I hope they read it and like read something in it and go, oh, I know that. I felt that.
Yeah.
Like the way this guy's described it, I felt that. And then you share something. And I think that's one of the biggest problems I think we've got in society these days is none of us are talking to each other anymore. And so because we don't talk to each other, the divisions between us grow and grow. And often, I've always said the shortest distance between two people is a story. Because when people tell the stories about their lives and you hear them, you're like, oh, I can totally relate to that, even though this person's totally different to me. And I think we have so much more that connects us that divides us, but we're always focusing on divisions,
Right. Yeah. Now, if you was writing the book a difficult thing or was it an easy thing? Tell me about the process of writing this book, because I have been working on a book about a personal situation. It's a trauma, and I mean, I guess yours is a trauma too. But I'm talking about the death of my son, and basically that's a really difficult book to write. Was this difficult in that sense?
I mean, it was difficult because I had to. I started writing the book when I was in the middle of my divorce, so I had no idea how it was going to end. And what I found was the more drafts I wrote, the more honest I was prepared to be, which meant I had to do a lot more looking inside. And so the book became a kind of incredible piece of therapy. And by the time I finished this version of it, because I mean, I can tell you the first version was a little bit hot, had a very particular point of view that was working very hard to sell the reader on. But now this version, I'm really proud of what it's become because there's no malice in it. It really helped me not just process what happened, but process my own role in it and my own, contributions to how bad it was for myself. It's much easier to blame someone. It's a lot harder to kind of go into it and really look at yourself and how you honestly feel about things or what you really honestly did. So I find, writing really helped me do that. And I think the brain also protects you from some of the hardest stuff. It lets you get through some of the easier things, because I found I would be writing a draft, get to a scene that I've already written, and then suddenly the brain would go, actually, that's not how it happened, but you're ready for it now. Here's what actually happened. And it downloads it and you go, oh my God, that's right. Oh, that was me. Right. Yeah. But I think the greatest thing, mate, is to write, because when you share what you felt, when you share what you went through and other people read it, they're just like, I'm not alone. I'm not crazy. I also felt these things. It's such like I'm realizing now, people have said to me writing's a privilege, and now I get it, because when you see how it touches people, when you share your story, like mine with my divorce, or you with what happened to your son, you'll be amazed what it does for others. Yeah.
Yeah. I've had that similar experience, except I was not honest with myself. I passed it on to my ex-wife and my goddaughter to read, and they were the ones who pointed out, well, you kind of have it right there, but there was you got it kind of wrong there too.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this the other day because I was a little bit high. I was sitting out in the sun, and just my mind goes where it will sometimes. And I
Yeah.
was thinking about the dark things that I've done, and like in my
Yeah.
mind, all the things that I regret, my bad behaviors. And I realized there was a protection mechanism in my brain somewhere that
Yeah.
says, "Don't look behind that black curtain right now. It's not a good time for you to kind of look that honestly at yourself." And
Yeah.
so I think I still have a lot of that. Did you have a coach or anybody like a writing coach, or because this is your first book, right?
It's my first book, yeah. But I've been a
Yeah.
writer my entire life. I definitely got a lot of great feedback from friends. And when I was, and also I had to work with a defamation attorney for 2 years. And let me tell you, they're the hardest editors on the planet. They're like, take that out. You can't prove this. Get rid of it. That's your opinion. It's not
Wow.
fact. Like, they're brutal. But thank goodness I went through them, because it makes you kind of think about, is this really in service of the reader, or is this revenge? And you have to get really
Right.
honest with yourself about that. And then right at the end, I got some great advice, which was, you have to cut a quarter of this book out. It was too long. And
Wow.
they were right. Yeah. So I cut a quarter of it out, and then it was just a much better read. Just flowed. It was very good. Yeah. By the end. Well, I mean, here I am saying the process was very
Yeah.
good to make it a shorter book. I shouldn't. Wow, it
Yeah.
is I will say it's a good book. Yes, I can say that.
Well,
That sounds like
so
you're
that was-
biased
that was-
a little bit. No, I'm just kidding.
on the defamation thing, that
Yeah.
because for defamation, it's like you can't experience something you've never heard. You can't be defamed if you don't know about it. So the defamation for your ex-husband to feel defamed, you'd have to read it. So,
Well, there's that.
and
Yeah.
yeah. Do you
But I
have
think
any
it's
inclination that that's happened?
Oh, I honestly, I don't know. Like, we
Yeah.
don't speak, so I don't know if he. I'm sure he
Yeah.
knows about it, but I think the handling of him in it is, I think, very fair. Because what I'm happy to say is, by the time I finished the last draft, I had a lot of empathy for him and what he went through, because I realized also, like, I'm writing this book going, oh, I'm the only person I know going through it, but I did know someone else. It was my ex-husband, but we weren't
Right.
talking, so I don't know what it was like for him. So. And I could see that by the time I got to the last draft. So I kind of imagined a lot of things about maybe what was happening for him. And I think they're kind. I like to believe they're kind. I mean, the things that
Yeah.
happened. There are facts, and we can't change those, and
Very
on both
cool.
sides. But yeah, I think
Yeah, I wrote a
it's certainly
song
it's not
called
a TMZ type thing. If
right.
people are
Yeah,
hoping for
yeah.
like a juicy read, it's not.
I think some
It's not really about
people
that.
people are just so bored with their own lives. They're looking for tragedy
Yeah.
and outrageousness in other people's lives.
Yeah.
I think that's what that's
Yeah.
about. I wrote a song called "Hard Man to Love." It's about
Ah.
relationships that I had to take ownership of the reason that thing. Well, yeah, at least like you said, 50% of ownership
Yeah.
of why it didn't work out, and that's that it's a really rough thing to do to say to yourself, because we like to tell ourselves a story that this person is responsible for everything that's
Yeah.
not right with us, but in reality, that's never the case. It's always for any, even if it's not a love relationship, if it's just a platonic relationship, we all are 50% responsible for how it goes, and that's a difficult thing to kind of recognize.
Yeah.
So yeah. Now the book, you said you cut it down. How long is it?
It's 321 pages now.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a
Would
good
you
read. There are people
describe it?
who, yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, would you describe it as a memoir, or is it a how-to book, or like what to for people who are about to go through it, almost a tutorial, a manual on
It's,
what you're
I mean,
gonna
it's a
go
good
through?
question. It's kind of a mix. I even write about this in the introduction of How to Burn a Rainbow. I say I don't really know what genre to call this book, because it is memoir, but it's also how to. It's a spiritual journey, travel, and it's kind of a mashup of pop culture writers that I really like, that I've referenced in a spiritual writers. So there's also a bit of essay and analysis, because at one point someone asked me, would I ever get married again? And I realized I never really thought about what marriage was. And so I do this whole deep dive, an essay and analysis of marriage and then of divorce. And then there's even a kind of recommendation of how I think we should handle divorces now. So it has that component as well. And people who've read it have gone, dude, this thing is wild. Like, it flows, but it just takes you so many different places. So it would definitely work as a how-to if someone's going through it, and it work as a kind of companion, an emotional companion for that. And there's great tips of things to do in this, and how to handle yourself and how not to handle yourself, how to hire lawyers and how definitely not to do that. There's definitely a lot of that. What to look for in your friends, because they'll break up into like 4 categories. And just to know all these kind of things is very useful. But I think, it does a lot it things, this book. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to read the book, but I'm going to read the book in the closet so people don't.
Oh, get it on an e-reader so no one knows. There you go.
I'm kidding. I don't care. I don't care. And listen, I'm never getting divorced again. I will. That's just not going to happen. But because you know what, I'll die first. But no, before I let you go, because we are up against the clock here. But the suggestions for how to handle, how to think about it, and all, does that apply for straight people as well?
Oh, 100%. Like I said before, can you guys still hear me? Okay, I think one of my headphones.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah. No, definitely, it's a universal thing, mate. I thoroughly recommend people get prenups, 100%. But I think we can even improve on that. And there's something I write about in the book called a pre-equitable, which is more like an operating agreement between 2 people who are married. And give an example of a friend of mine, actually, a guy I met who went and did this with his husband, and how successful that was for them. Yeah. So there's a lot of suggestions in there about how anyone can do it going forward.
I learned something about prenups in this Donald Trump stuff, because yesterday somebody on Twitter said in all prenuptials there is a decency clause where you are, if you are found to have engaged in indecent behavior, and I don't know how that's defined, you lose everything. Like, you are completely, so the prenup is voided. So they were talking about Melania. If they find out that he was, or if they rule that he was indecent, she gets everything. If they,
wow,
that's yeah.
Wow, that's a plot twist.
Yeah. So I could see why she hasn't been to the trial. She's probably like, I hope they find him indecent.
Yeah.
Anyway, Carl, it's been an eye-opener. I definitely am looking forward to reading the book. What you've described is it's a human journey, a spiritual journey, and I think it's part of the world that we live in. So it's a great way to get to understand the human condition. So thank you for writing the book. Thank you for being here, and I'll send people to carldunn.com/book. Book is called How to Burn a Rainbow. It's available on Amazon, but you can go to carldunn.com and click on the link there. Thank you. It's been great. Let me just take this out before we say goodbye to you. There you go. All right. Well, thanks for coming. And last question.
Thank you so much.
Are you compelled to be an author of more books now?
Oh, definitely. I'm just getting started. I love this life. I really love it.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the next time you come out with another book, feel free to pop in and let us know about it, and we'll help you promote it as best we can.
I will take you up on that. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a great day, and good luck with everything. And bye.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Bye. Thanks so much.
Bye. Oop, I always cut him right off right in the middle of a word. Anyway, good, interesting stuff there, right? I mean, that was a good guess, and I love the whole story here and how it, No, Ron, you've never been divorced, right?
No, not at all. Nope.
Show off.
Yeah. I do things right the first time. That's all I'm saying.
Ron.
Now, how long were you with your wife before you got married? Like how long?
Like 6 years.
Yeah, that's the right way to do it. You're right. You do things right the first time. Did you live together before?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we lived
Yeah.
together, and
You're already frowned upon by the religious right now just for that. How dare you live in sin? You were living in sin. How long were you living in sin for? All 6 years?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh man, premarital sex, living
And
together.
we even had
disgusting.
and we even had a kid during that time.
Wow, that's gross. Man, you are a monster.
I know. And take that, Christians. My marriage is still together. Where's your marriage?
Ooh, kill him. So it sounds like gay divorce and regular divorce are both a pain in the ass. And no pun intended. And
pun intended. You're lying about that.
Now, have we crossed the line?
No,
I don't think so. No.
Also, do you think in Australia tops are bottoms and bottoms are tops since it's everything's backwards?
Oh well, why didn't you ask them that?
I should have asked him. I should have. Yeah, that would have been the guy to ask. Probably.
I know what you mean about the Aussie accent, though. You know,
dude, there's something about it, man. It's just, it's so good.
It's better than English. It definitely
100%. It's so. This has always been frowned upon by Australian people when I say it, but I feel like Australians are kind of like the rednecks of like the English people. They have their own slang and they're all about their trucks and the sand, and, but they're so much cooler when they talk. It's great. Time for the news.
You know what? I don't think they're. It depends, because rednecks. I think of like the MAGA truck driving.
No, I don't mean that kind of redneck. I just mean like you have like English people, right?
Yeah.
And then you have the Australian people who sound similar, but they're all about going hunting and fishing. And
English people definitely, proper English people definitely look down upon Australia like they do on like Americans, like
And I'd much rather party with an Australian person than an English person all day.
But they do have an attitude. Not they. You know what? I'm stereotyping them women. But remember the show Wilfred? It was a guy in a dog costume, Ethan. Or whatever. Anyway, I was a big fan of the American version. I did not know there was an Australian version on that, and I was commenting on the show. And man, I get Aussie hate from the guys who found out that I thought the American version was the thing. Man, it's like, you Americans, you think you invented everything, and it was not pretty. They were angry at me, and they did. I guess I would be too if somebody was claiming rights to something that was, I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So I felt like I dealt with some Aussie hate. You haven't had, but I do love Outback. So come on, cut me some slack here. I love Olive Garden. So all you Italian people, back off. I love the Olive Garden. I don't. I hate the fucking Olive Garden. Anyway, let's do some news. We're gonna meet a mobster in a few minutes, who was an FBI informant. It's an interesting story, man.
Shrimp on the bottom.
The Vatican issued an apology on behalf of the Pope following reports that he used a homophobic slur during a meeting with Italian bishops.
According to reports, the Pope used the derogatory Italian term during the May 20th meeting, where he reiterated his stance that gay men should not be permitted to train as priests in seminaries. He reportedly stated that while it was important for the Church to embrace everyone, admitting gay priests could lead to them leading a double life. Jessica Oakley, reporting.
A pilot survived the crash of a developmental version of an F-35 fighter shortly after taking off from the Albuquerque International Sunport.
Lockheed Martin was in the process of delivering the aircraft to Edwards Air Force Base in Southern California when the plane crashed on the airport's south side. The plane caught fire, which was extinguished by local firefighters. The pilot ejected from the plane and was conscious when emergency response teams arrived, promptly transporting the unnamed pilot to a nearby hospital for treatment. Liam White reporting.
Lawmakers in Georgia overrode a presidential veto of a contentious law mandating Western-backed NGOs and media outlets to register as foreign agents, a move that opponents fear jeopardizes any chance of EU membership.
Protesters assembled outside the legislative building in the capital city of Tbilisi prior to the vote to overturn the May 18th veto at a crucial juncture, the outcome of which will have major implications for the South Caucasus nation for years to come. Demonstrators chanted Russian and slave outside the parliament building. Joseph Eckerson reporting.
Israeli tanks penetrated the center of Rafah as Israel Defense Forces continue their drive to uproot remaining Hamas battalions in the southern Gaza Strip.
Armored forces of the IDF advanced during the night hours and were witnessed by residents of Rafah in several areas near the city's core, including in proximity to the Al-Auda Mosque, as reported by the Jerusalem Post. These tank units are part of a targeted and precise operation against Hamas battalions that fired rockets from Rafah toward Tel Aviv in the latter part of the previous week. Benjamin Wright reporting.
This is the latest news headlines.
Yeah, get over with the music here. Come on now.
A company that posted a discriminatory job advertisement seeking only white candidates has been fined by the federal government, according to officials.
Arthur Grand Technologies, an information technology services firm based in Virginia, posted a discriminatory job advertisement in March 2023 that restricted eligible candidates to only white U.S.-born citizens who are local within 60 miles from Dallas, Texas. The job ad also stated, "Don't share with candidates," according to a statement from the United States Department of Justice. Kevin Sanders reporting.
Devin Johnson's life was uprooted for a second time when a tornado flattened his home over the Memorial Day weekend.
This occurred on the same lot in Kentucky where another storm left him homeless in 2021. Johnson, 21, watched Tuesday as workers used chainsaws to cut into the wreckage of the trailer he called home with his grandparents and girlfriend. It was an all-too-familiar scene for his family. Kyle Norris reporting.
The man who was arrested for allegedly randomly hitting a TikToker walking down a New York City street has been charged with assaulting, stalking, and harassing strangers.
Skibaki Stora, 40 of Brooklyn, has been charged with 3 counts of third-degree assault as a hate crime, 1 count of stalking as a hate crime, and second-degree aggravated harassment for incidents between September of 2023 and March 2024. Paul Gomez reporting.
7 people were injured, including 1 critically, and 2 people remain missing after an explosion rocked downtown Youngstown, Ohio, officials said.
The explosion occurred near Central Square Tuesday afternoon, police stated, urging people to avoid the area. The building has been evacuated and streets in the surrounding area have been closed to traffic indefinitely due to the potential for a structural collapse, according to authorities. Lawrence Keller reporting.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, there it is again.
Did that bring you back trauma? Is that a reminder?
Ah! My legs! Sorry.
Now, Ron, Albuquerque is in the news. You're going to Albuquerque. That's got to be AI just not knowing how to read shit.
Yeah.
Albuquerque. We're going to Albuquerque a couple of days, right?
Yeah, we leave Tuesday afternoon.
Oh, so they will have the crashed B-1 bomber out of the off the runway by the time you get there.
Yeah, I hope so. We're still cleaning this up.
Yeah. The other thing, well, it was a couple of things. The New York, a guy got arrested and convicted for punching a random TikToker on the streets of New York City, coming back to the Steve Buscemi. So we're cracking down on random face punching. It's good to know.
That is good to know. Although there's a few TikTokers that probably should be punched.
Yeah, that guy that Ron's friend, the
anti-wet pussy guy, that guy.
Yeah,
the no foreplay guy. Fuck that guy.
I thought he was a dating coach. Is exactly I think.
Oh, the dating guru. He was a dating guru.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks
I
like
think it's all the same. I think.
Yeah. William Montgomery of dating coaches is what he is. And the other thing in the news was that Kentucky guy who has had his land flattened out by a tornado for a second time. I would move. If I were him, I'd move out of Kentucky. I'd move to someplace that never gets tornadoes.
If you can afford to rebuild your house, move and rebuild your house. I would not rebuild my house where it was just flattened.
Well, to be fair, after it happened the first time, he probably thought the chance. I've had my tornado. Who gets hit by lightning twice, or who gets hit by a tornado twice?
Anybody that's ever watched 90s television knows as soon as you have that thought, it's coming again.
Is it Twister?
Yeah, you know what's going to happen again.
What do you think?
I found it. I found it a interesting news story about an 81-year-old California man who has been arrested after his terrorizing neighbors with a slingshot for 10 years.
So he started
10
when he was
years.
71.
He was like,
that's not too. Yeah, 71. It probably, it probably felt right to do.
yeah,
81 now.
People were complaining
yeah.
about damage to their houses and like windshields and things like that, and like the case had been open that long, then someone complained again, and the here I have the story right here. Here, I'll show it to you. Here, let's see. It's from Complex. It's just there you
Is
go.
this the same slingshot you beat Goliath with?
How did you find this? Did you go looking for weird news or?
No, it just kind of popped up, and I thought it was a rather interesting story.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was considered like a quality of life issue, and yeah, they searched his house and they found the slingshot with ball bearings, and it's him. So he is now in jail.
Guy's name is Prince King.
He's been yes,
Prince King.
Yep,
that's weird. That's a weird name. So I would
81
question.
years old.
Yeah, 81 years old. They had a lengthy investigation. During the search, the ball bearings and a slingshot were recovered from his residence. But did they get the fingerprints off it? Because listen, just because I have it in my house doesn't mean I'm the one who fired it. I'm going to be his lawyer.
Yeah, true.
Your Honor, my client doesn't even have the wherewithal to aim a slingshot.
You can't even
look
pull
at
it
him.
back.
Frail old man. Very weird dude. And why is slingshot the weapon of choice here?
Yeah, probably because it was easy, and it's not a
throwing
gun.
a rock just as easy. I mean, or throwing a ball bearing just as easy, or maybe it doesn't go as hard.
Maybe not at that age.
Yeah, at 81. Yeah, I guess you're right.
I mean, you take a
probably
ball.
Not prime.
You take a ball bearing in a slingshot. That would fucking hurt if you got hit.
You're right.
I mean,
you're right. He's not Nolan
right-
Ryan. He's not. Yeah.
But with the
you're
right slingshot, though, I mean, that can come out about as strong as a 22. If it's the right size bearing and everything.
You're right. I admit I was being foolish there, thinking that he could do that as hard as the slingshot. You're right. But now it doesn't say he's actually injured anybody, right? It was all property.
Yeah, it's all property is the
What a
biggest thing.
jerk.
So
What a jerk.
if he's found guilty, what kind of sentence does he get? I mean, anything is a life sentence, right? Even like a year is a life sentence to the guy.
Life
probably.
without pudding.
He'll probably get some fines, and he'll probably be confined to his house.
He probably won't be allowed to have weapons anymore either, would be my guess.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just very weird stuff. But you know what? There are weird stories happening every day, and we don't know about all the weirdness that goes on unless you read the police blotter in every single small town, because there's always like weird shit stories like that.
Can we call him the Old Testament shooter?
Old Testament shooter? What?
Like David and Goliath will call him the Old Testament shooter.
I don't know. But it's good to know that there are, police are doing intensive investigations about these kind of things.
Child trafficking all over the country. There's an old guy with the slingshot. That's priority.
Yeah. All right. It's time to move on to our next guest here. As I mentioned, we're not going to show his face because I don't know. He's worried about people out there who might recognize him or do something. I think that's the reason. Aiden Gabor was still a teenager when the Department of Justice agents approached him with an ultimatum: spend his life in prison for racketeering, embezzlement, extortion, and conspiracy to commit murder or become an undercover agent. His book is called Conflicting Loyalties. It's about a life spent serving two masters, I guess. He's here now. Aiden, good morning, Aiden. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me? Good morning to all of you.
Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Now do you have a voice changer on yourself too? So Because it sounds like you
Yeah.
do. Like,
Yeah, unfortunately, yes, I do. Got to have everything because there's still some people out there that are kind of butthurt with everything. They blame me for things I haven't done, and they've already attempted a couple bullshit on me over the years. So
really,
this is actually for my wife and the family. They want me to, if they don't want any of them to put into some idiots think they can do a vendetta thing. That it's all bullshit.
wow, this is now a pretty interesting story that you were still a teenager. It seemed when you say a teenager, you mean 19? I mean, because you weren't 14, right? I mean, the idea that you had been the DOJ would come to you with all these things about conspiracy and conspiracy to commit murder, embezzlement, all that stuff. It wasn't 14. You were 19, right?
I was actually going on 19, yes, sir.
Wow. So how
I started with I started when I was about 11.
Wow, was this like a Henry Hill
And that
type
was
of
just
thing,
running
doing like
things,
petty
just doing
crime?
things like for errands.
Wow.
I would say I'm just running stuff. I would just take this here, take this here, take this, pick this up, bring this back, don't look at it, and I would get 30, 40 bucks. I'd run to the candy store. That's really about it. And then I just started moving up. But I was really big for my age, and I used to get in scuffles, and I would never get up, and I would usually beat up on kids that are 4, 5, 6 years older than me.
Wow. Now, are you at liberty to say where? Like, was it New York? Was it
No.
Chicago?
We got in New Jersey. If you read the book, it says places, dates, and things have been changed. Protect the guilty, because everybody in the book is guilty of something. So we need to protect everybody that's in the book.
Wow. Now, so as you were an informant for the FBI. That's correct, right?
No, I was not. I was an informant for the Department of Justice, the DOJ. I did not do anything with the FBI. So I had nothing really to do with them. This was just, when I was younger, when I used to work in the shop or, clean the shop, I'd see law enforcement officers in there, and I would see FBI guys. We'd see all kinds. They would come in to talk with Eddie and to exchange things. I really didn't hear the conversations. I just saw them there and like, what, you a cop? And they're like, yeah, show me their badge. And one guy goes, you a G-man? And he showed me his little badge. And I'm like, here I am, like 13, 14 at that time. And I thought it was cool, but I had no idea exactly what was going on until I got to about 16.
Wow. So now, were you living like the double life, like still, because you were still informing, but were you still doing crimes at the same time?
Well, I mean, I didn't start doing anything with DOJ until I got into college, and prior to that, my dad was an associate with them, so I guess that's how it kind of got me in there. And yeah, I didn't tell anybody because they said don't say anything about it because we were a family. And I looked up to these guys, and then when I got to the DO, when they showed up, and them clowns were talking to me that they being 18 at the time, they're telling me some new law called RICO. I can end up going to jail. I got all this stuff. They got pictures of. They threw a little envelope with pictures of me, my mom, my dad. Mostly, and then more my mom and me talking with Eddie and Dominic and all the guys from around there. And to be honest to you, I didn't really give a shit about my dad going to prison. I was worried about my mom because I knew my mom was just, friends, didn't do anything. And they're threatening to put her in jail. And that was the one for me. And I was a mama's boy. And I don't know who out there can say they weren't, but I grew up a mama's boy. And that's all I really worried about. And being naive at the time, I'm like, yeah, what do you need me to do? And they basically told me, once I decided I was going to do this, after 3 months, that basically flunk out of school, or, party your way out of school. And we'll tell you what to do. And, I was just worried, like I said, about my mother going to jail. And so I said, sure, I guess I'm going to have to do what you guys want me to do.
Wow. My brother would probably benefit from having a conversation from you. My brother was a mommy's boy. He was at home when the DOJ, FBI came to my house and took my mother and father and put them in jail. And he had no problem when they put my father in handcuffs. But when they put my mother in handcuffs, he lost his mind and he started attacking them. And then they wrestled them to the ground and said, "You better calm down, or we'll take you and your little brother too," because they had a wiretap on the house and they knew every crime that everybody in the family was doing at the time.
Yeah.
So I was 13 at that point, and basically that's when I decided to leave. Because my parents were in prison, so that we have that in common. Now, why would the DOJ? Was your family involved in crimes? Your father and mother?
My dad was not quite a major. He was I guess a somewhat associate. He did things for him. But it was a big family. He used to have dinners and you'd have gatherings and stuff. And they were friends. They used to go to Vegas and shit together.
Wow.
I just, when they came to me, I was like, fuck you. But they basically told me, you're going to inform me. We're not going to be having any backup or anything with you. If something goes wrong, we really don't give a shit. You're on your own. You're going to do this on your own because you want to do this. And we need information. This is what we want. And I'm like, well, I ain't saying shit on the guys. He says, we don't give a shit about the guys you ran with or the career. They're already done. Because everybody at that time was in prison or on the run. Eddie came and said, what, go to school, do this, get away from this. You've never been arrested yet with anything, nothing, go. But, it came back to haunt me. And they were all gone. So I said, no. They said, no, we don't care. We want you to get into someplace. And they wanted me to get him to basically into law enforcement. So get onto this department and then we'll tell you what to do once you're on there.
Wow.
And I be a fucking cop, kiss my ass. And they're like, no, this is what we want you to do. And when I left school, I came home and I told my mother and father, I don't want to go to school. It's not for me. Well, what do you do? I go, well, I want to be a cop. My dad lost it. My mom cried, but my dad absolutely lost it. He said, you'd be a fucking flatfoot. Are you fucking kidding me? And then for that point, we didn't talk for 10 years.
Wow.
So, yeah, we just, it's been like, with him, my whole life's in a roller coaster with him.
Wow.
Yeah. Still my father, what I can do. But, I love him. That's all I can say right now. But and then they wanted me to get on, and they said, get close to this one officer. We want some information on you because we think he's pretending to be a hitman.
Wow.
So I thought, this is kind of fucked up, but okay.
That's kind of fucked up. Now, the title of the book is Conflicting Loyalties. Were you loyal to two different sides, or because I'm confused about that? Generally, your loyalty is to one side, but you're playing the other side, I think.
Well, my loyalty has always been a family. When I had the career cop, I ran with Eddie. That was my family. And then when you get in law enforcement, I don't know if you know, it's called the blue line. So basically, men and women in law enforcement, you have a blue line there, and you stick together. And because you're going against the world, it's us against them. And once I got in, I started realizing that. And as I was getting into it, I couldn't tell anybody. And it was eating away at me. And I was, getting these guys arrested. They get information turned in. I'm like, you need me to testify? No, you testify, you're one and done. We want you to do other things because you know these people. And they trust you. And because I grew up, they knew who I was. And like, you're going to toe the line, Aiden, right? Toe the line. You can do what you need to be told. And the mayor and the commissioner, I'm like, yes, sir, whatever you need me to do. And my thing is I became an alcoholic and I became a gulper. And I would have visions of the St. Michael, the flaming sword come at me and said, you're betraying, you're being bad, you're doing evil things. And I'd freak out. I mean, I was, like I said, I became an alcoholic. And one of my dark times, I was with a .357 Magnum. I remember I used to have, and I would load it, and I'd wait, and I'd spin the chamber and pull the trigger, hope it went off. And I know at least 10 times I did it, and then I know these many more times I wake up with it next to me, until my buddy Don found me in a stupor and kind of got me fixed up and trying to figure out what my problem was. But I really couldn't say. And Don and I, to this day, we talk every day almost. And Don was giving me information without knowing he was helping me out. He was an officer in one of the departments I worked for.
Wow. Now, let me just read a sentence from here. Because the part it doesn't have to be. It's an honest memoir in 3 parts: the bloody life of a mob soldier from outside La Familia, the death-defying paranoid existence of an informant, bringing down corrupt politicians and police departments. That's the part I'm interested in. Bringing down corrupt politicians and police departments. Now, you said you changed the names of the guilty. But the corrupt politicians, did you change their names, and if so, why?
Everybody's name is changing there. You get one part of it, you'll figure it all out. It was in the town I grew up in, so it was everything involved was right there.
So are you talking local politicians, or are there any federal or like state?
No, they're all local. They're just they're locals. There was no federal or anything in there. They were just a local making the town bad. They were actually making the town good, but they weren't good people. That's all I can say.
Did you learn anything about the extent? I mean, first of all, I have to say that my understanding of the mob that my father was part of went away somewhere or was eliminated or taken over by Russian and Chinese influence in the early 90s, I think. Are they still around? Oh, I'm talking about the old Costa Nostra mafia.
Nobody I was there, they're either dead, except they got family. That's the problem. Or in prison. As of right now, everybody I ran with, everybody but me is dead. But they still have family, and they still have people that are kind of still doing little things, and they have their little, I don't know what you want to call it nowadays, with all the gangs, everything running rampant. Whatever they're doing right now, they're still doing it. And I've actually had a couple times over the years, I had to go and have a come to Jesus meeting with a couple people. And, I would go up there, and I was diagnosed with no empathy. I don't care if somebody gets hurt. It doesn't bother me. I laugh. I have, I guess it's a psychotic personality. I laugh when people get hurt. I laugh when shit happens on TV. I can't control it. I think it's funny as fuck, but I don't care about somebody else getting hurt. Family is one thing. If you set my family, we got a problem. And for some reason, I don't know why, I've been working with that every day for last several years trying to figure how I can fix this, but it's really hard.
Wow. It's an interesting story here. But did you learn anything about the extent of? Do you think that there is legitimate organized crime elements within a bigger government agencies and departments?
When I was there, yeah. When I was doing this, oh God, it went all the way up, almost to the top. Everybody was putting their hand out.
Wow.
There's always, as long as there's money involved, the almighty, Benjamin, you're going to have this. I mean, today you got the same thing. I don't trust politicians at all. Every politician in my mind is dirty in one way, shape, or form because somebody's giving them money. And same thing out there. As long as you have a reason to take money, like most people we dealt with were degenerate gamblers, needing money, or that was really it. Or protecting these little businesses and stuff. But most of it was gambling, and these guys were degenerate gamblers. I mean, you got to learn if you can't keep winning, but they have that disease, I guess you can call it.
Yeah, I know it all too well, man. This is my family story, and I'm not going to go into it now because this is all about you and your book. Now, is this the first book you've written, or not?
Yeah, so the first I've written it, and actually, I didn't want to do it. I'm going to be on I was having a lot of night terrors with my second wife, and I was throwing her around. I was handcuffing her. I was screaming. I was yelling. And it just started out, and she couldn't figure it out. So she called a friend of mine, Sam, and he came down, and we started talking. And then he gave me a couple readings for this called the Baha'i Faith. And I'm like, get out of here. I used to work for the other guy. I don't deal with this shit. Get that religion crap out of here. I don't. And I was very anti everything. And I was having really bad night terrors, and we said, well, you need to talk about it. Well, Don showed up, and so we started talking. And I kind of opened up, and I never wanted to. And I didn't know about 80% of shit I'd done. And he looked at me, Sam, and he goes, you need to write a book. This is fucked. I go, no, it's fucked up. I ain't doing shit. And he's like, no, this is to get therapeutically. And I don't know. I think it's brought out more with me. But what it did is made me believe in the Baha'i faith and spiritually and how everybody's equal. And I mean, I'm not 90 degrees of what I was. I'm more like 60 degrees of what I was right now. But getting spiritually into Baha'i faith has really helped me. But writing a book was therapeutic, according to Sam, that it really was supposed to help me. It had. But it also has brought out a lot of demons.
Wow. Now, did you ever do any kind of witness protection thing or relocation or any of that?
They asked me about that after everything was getting said and done, but they was like, you can't talk to your mother, you can't talk, like, yeah, fuck off. And my ex at the time didn't know anything, and she thought because I got injured, I got shot and stuff, that it was all due to the department, and it was a settlement, and so I just kept it that way. And they said, "I'll just give me whatever and a little stipend," and then that was it. And they basically peace out. I don't trust. I always thought maybe I have a chance to be an agent or something. The stupidity of me, and the peace out. We don't want to fucking talk to you anymore is kind of what it was. It's like, we did what we need you to do, or you accomplished what we maybe wanted, and that was it. We're done with you.
Oh,
Yeah.
Now, people like Sammy Gravano and Michael Franzese, who are absolutely turncoat rats, they have no problem speaking out publicly and showing their face and actually being on YouTube, have YouTube channels and all this stuff. Why are you concerned if they're not?
Because there's assholes out there and I have family. They've already attempted 3 times on me. So I don't want to take a chance. I promise my Sabrina that I will do this to help her and her family, make sure nobody gets stupid, which everybody's stupid, I feel.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go out there. I really, my whole thing with the book really is, you can come from the dark to the light, but spiritually, there's somebody out there, good police officers, one bad police officer makes 100,000 look bad, good ones, men and women. And there's somebody out there stopping these bad police officers and politicians that they are actually trying to do something and said, let them go. And the fact that, your suicide attempts or separate suicide, that you can have somebody talk to, just talk to them. I didn't have anybody until Don showed up. And I don't know why the gun never went off. I mean, there's sometimes I had 3 rounds in the chamber out of 6. And I don't know why it never went off. I don't know if, but I know God's got a sense of humor because I got ALS. So he's going to screw with me any way he can.
Well, I'm sorry about the ALS thing, but that is
all right. It is what it is. It's deserving of what I've done already, what I've done in my youth.
Wow, that's a heavy thing to say. But like, I know Francese's got a family too, and but they don't try to hide it at all. And Michael is still pissing some people off, and whatever. I'm sure people are curious about because there are several of those people who just live fearlessly, putting their face out there and still telling tales and stuff. Now, from the stories in the book, have you had to change details of the story so people can't actually put two and two together and say, oh, I know who this is?
Yeah, I didn't put some things, a lot of things I didn't put in where I couldn't. There's things that I changed a little bit, just times and dates, just change around a little, because, yeah, I mean, if somebody might figure it out from the old neighborhood. You never know. But also they need to change like names of like cities and stuff. And that's just the lawyers' crap. They get put their 2 cents in on everything. And yeah, it took a long time to change everything with the book because we had names and stuff. And they're like, yeah, no, you can't put that. Yeah, no, you can't put that. Wow. And so we did change it, the stories and stuff, everything that it happened. A lot of people are like, oh, it's bullshit, we heard this. I'm like, let me explain. So we weren't rocket scientists. We didn't do it. We had whatever was at hand we were going to use. It's like the old saying, have a baseball bat, but put a ball in the mitt in your trunk with it. Because then the cops can't fuck with you because you got a ball, a mitt, and a bat, but you play ball anytime.
Right.
And, baseball bats were easy. That was an easy thing to go around with, Honestly, I have an ice pick that I was shown to when I was young. This is the best thing to use. You can bam, 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 drop it and run or leave it in them, and they're not going to worry about coming after you while they've got some leaks in them. And it goes through a vest. So I carry one of those nowadays, and then I millimeter with me 24/7, and that's just stupid. This is my wife off, but I don't care.
Yeah. No, we played baseball in the blood league because that explains why the blood is all over the bat. We used to use hard balls that were filled with blood. But to your point, somebody in the chat room is saying that what's the point of hiding your face and your voice if the story is easy to piece together and the bad guys would know that it's you talking?
They shouldn't know it's me. All the ones that were really there are dead. I'm hiding this because I promised my wife I would. And, I got family, got kids out there. I can give a shit about my ex-wife. I'll give you her number and where she's at. But other than that, no.
Let me recommend a book from earlier. When it comes to the ex-wife, How to Burn a Rainbow will help you.
How to Burn a Rainbow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, from your perspective, mob movies, mob stories, they over glamorize. What is your perspective on let's just say, and I'm not asking you to bash anything. I'm just how truthful are stuff like Donnie Brasco and those kind of books and movies?
They're there, but they're you got to censorize, make it more than it is. When they talk about we're going to kill this person, nobody really. What you do is we mostly against each other as other crews. If you poached, there was a problem. You better have a reason why you're in my area. That was it. We never really, with anybody making a point, unless you really had to be degenerate to get that. But it does done good business because it brought like people look and heat on you if you do something stupid like that. But most of the time, if we did anything really bad, it's against other crews. And then you look at some of these movies and the way they put it is, okay, we're going to kill that person right there. Really, that's a rarity. That's an extreme rarity. But it does happen, But as far as my case, that really never happened. Only people who got hurt were the ones that deserved it. But other than that, no, they're good movies.
I never killed the guy who didn't need killing.
That's the best alibi right there. He needed it, man.
Yeah. Now, because I don't know, for some reason I'm feeling like the marketability of a book like this and the ability to turn it into a movie is conflicted by the idea of the anonymity here. The reason the Henry Hill story could be made into Goodfellas is because he was out there. Any concerns about that? Your anonymity limiting the reach of the book?
No, I'm not worried about it. But if somebody wants to do something and we can talk, it's going to be done a certain way. But no, I'm not worried if it makes it not happen or makes it happen. I mean, it's not nothing I'm looking at. Like I say, it ended up being a therapeutic thing.
Okay.
And didn't want to do the book.
Right.
But peer pressure, I guess you can say, kind of say, you got to do this.
Damn peers. Now, so have you in the review? How long has the book been out? Is it been out a while?
September 19th of last year, 2023. So it's been out 6 months.
That's long enough to get some reviews. Any surprising reviews or things that seem like this might somebody might be actually putting two and two together in
No, I haven't received any phone calls from friends and people I still have around the neighborhood. Nobody said anything. Only my buddy Don knows about it, and he's got feelers and whatever out there, and he hasn't heard anything, which is good.
You're not following the Amazon reviews or reading what people say in there?
I do a little bit. That's not me. I have a group that does that. My wife's the big one with that, which is great. I do a little bit, but to me it is what it is, and I am just going along with my life right now.
All right. Well, good luck with that, and good luck with the book, man. It's kind of a hard thing to get people excited about when we're not showing your face inside, and we have people who are skeptical about that, and with the voice changer and all that stuff. It kind of adds a little air of mystery to it, but I think some people are skeptical about the whole story, and you can't blame them for that. But it is what it is. Anyway,
you're right. People have said that to me. You need to. I go. You know what? I'm going to do whatever's best for my family, and if this is what they want, this is what I'm going to do.
No,
I'm comfortable. That works for me.
All right. Well, thank you for being here. Good luck with the book. People can get it at Amazon. The link is in the description. The book is called Conflicting Loyalties. I can't read the tag title on there, but the link is scrolling across the screen right now if people want to get directly from Amazon. And good luck with the book, Aiden. Thank you for being part of the book.
We have our own link called conflictingloyalties.com, and it tells you everywhere to go to get it.
Okay, cool. I'll put that in the link in the description too. So thank you.
Thank you so much. It was an honor to be on, guys.
Have a great day. And I wish you good luck with the ALS, complications and all that kind of stuff. Good luck with that, and hope you do well. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. You have a great day.
You too. Bye. What do you guys think? Oh, look, the book's covering me up. I'm gonna move the book. Any thoughts?
The reboot of Star Wars is looking pretty rough.
Star Wars?
He mentioned piers. I'm more of a beach guy myself, but
yeah, take a long walk off a short pier. Now, my Uncle Rich, my father, I don't know if I ever told you guys this story. TD knows it though. My father, one day, my mom had an evening job or something, and I was hanging out with my father. My father was in a bad mood. I was like 5 years old, and I did not know it at the time, but his brother, my Uncle Chick, was a bartender in Brooklyn and had just got beaten up and hospitalized, and that's why my father was in a bad mood. My Uncle Rich, who was not my uncle, he's my father's cousin, but I always called him Uncle Rich, pulls up and he jumps out of the car and he says, "Come on, Georgie." This is what he called my father, Georgie, not his name. He said, "We got to go get these N-words," the guys who beat up my Uncle Chick. And my father was like, I got the kid here. I remember it was very, he pointed like me, like I'm a burden, like, yeah, we can't go get these guys. I got the kid here. And he said, "Fuck it, we'll take him." And they threw me in the back of the car and they drove to Brooklyn. My Uncle Rich was a hitman. He was a legitimate hitman, a killer. And they went into this bar and they left the car running with the windows open just a little bit. And they told me just stay here, keep your head down. I was like, this is East New York, Brooklyn. They go into the bar and boom, 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 shots in the bar. My dad and Uncle Rich come running out, and Dad jumps in the car. We're taking off down Pitkin Avenue, and gunshots are firing like bullets coming, hitting the rearview window and all this stuff. Keep your head down. Keep your head down. That kind of stuff. So my Uncle Rich was deep in it. And when he said, well, we're going to college, I remember my Uncle Rich calling me. He heard I was going to college in New Mexico. I'm in Florida. He calls me. He goes, Monty. He always called me Monty or Marty. And like, Matt. I told him 100 times, my name is fucking Matt. Monty, I hear you going to school out in New Mexico. Listen, I got a woman. She's a bitch like your mother. You know what I'm saying? He goes, I want you to take a package out to a girl who she lives in Arizona. I want you to take a package out. It's like 25 pounds. It's like pastries. I just want you to take this.
Yeah.
He wants me to bring 25 pounds of heroin in a box and check it as baggage and take it out. So this is, so I can relate to some of these stories and how this stuff is. I know it seems like made up and crazy to a lot of people who are hearing this, but my point of reference is a lot of this stuff is very real and very doable. Now, what I'm talking about was the 70s, so it was before the takedown of the Gotti stuff and Gravano and all that kind of stuff. But you know what? I would not dismiss any of it. I know it's hard to. It's easy to be skeptical when a guy's not showing his face or any of that stuff. But it is part of the life I lived. And the gambling, the reason there was a wiretap, Rico wiretap on my house was a guy who owed my father like $50,000, skipped town. His name was Rebel. He was a Southern guy, and he went to Virginia, and the feds got him to flip on my father and give testimony, and that's how they got the right to put the wiretap on. So, I wouldn't dismiss this stuff just because it sounds movie-like or Hollywood. Anyway. Any thoughts from you guys on it or no?
No, I mean, I don't necessarily dismiss it. I don't know. It's when you don't, I guess when you don't live the lifestyle, it sounds very Hollywood, very, very like, look at me, I'm a,
I know that,
but I get it. I do get it. I just, from the outside,
all that
it's a different
stuff, the
situation.
romanticized stuff of it, the Sopranos, that. But I'm more cause that stuff still does go on, but it's not like the old days with the 5 families and there was a hierarchy and like a well organized, disorganized crime. It's more like hit and miss, a bunch of guys running loose cannons. But I am interested in the politicians and the police department angle of it and how many of those people are, because here where I live, the chief of police and the DA were highly corrupt bastards. I mean, the chief of police, James Burke, went to jail for, first of all, one of his snitches had a black book with some of the victims of the Long Island serial killer. Their information was in there. Prostitutes, Craigslist prostitutes. He found a gym bag full of sex toys and all that kind of stuff, that he had whips and chains. And then he beat that guy to a quarter inch of his life and went to jail for beating that guy up. He was groomed by the DA Spada, who was also heavily into that stuff. So in my neck of the woods, this corrupt and really bad police departments and politicians, that all rings very true. I mean, so that's what I'd love to know about those people and the people in their involvement of higher politicians and all that kind of stuff, police departments in this stuff, and how deep that goes. It doesn't sound like he laid out the real, like if you got to change the town, so that people can't figure it out, makes it a little less interesting. I want to know the real facts. I want to know who did it and why. Who did it, when, and how, and why.
Well, to me, it makes a lot of sense because, I think you're always going to have corrupt police, but especially in the days when there weren't cell phones everywhere and that ability, you knew all sorts of shit was happening that was nefarious between cops and shit like that when you could really get away with it. I mean, you can still get away with it, but it is harder now. It is harder because of the tech.
Yeah, the surveillance state. I mean, 9/11 definitely, and the Defense of America Act definitely opened up a whole, can of worms with surveillance. But they can track anything and everything: emails, text messages, all that kind of stuff, even GPS whereabouts and all that kind of stuff. So it makes you wonder, like, how you can even get away with any crimes now if we have such a police state that is watching everything. I guess the supercomputers aren't fast enough to say, oh, here we intercepted this message, go check this out, or they just don't have enough manpower and all that stuff.
Yeah, and if you're a criminal and that's like your day job, you I mean, you should be up on the latest tech and how to avoid it.
That's true. Can you avoid like the NSA tracking all your devices and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, you can't.
Well, if you can, then the Taliban can't, or whatever terrorists, or ISIS, or whoever the fuck we're talking about here, terrorists could also be able to do it. So what's the point of even having it if everybody can? If your savvy people can block it, the only people that we're really tracking are the good people.
Yeah. I mean, burner phones are still around, so that's still a good source. And there's people and there's people that stay off the internet for good reason.
Yeah, I had several like really good regular clients who would only use burner phones, flip phones, didn't have an internet. Period. They wouldn't drive a car newer than like 86 just because they didn't want a computer in it. Like they wanted nothing.
Anytime I see somebody who has two phones, I automatically get suspicious of them. Like
100%.
Yeah. Why do you have two phones?
Yeah.
Who are you hiding from? You nasty.
You know who has two phones? I'm gonna. Shh. My wife has two phones.
Matt.
I know. I should get that book, right? How to Burn a Rainbow.
Yeah, you need to get that book, man, because man, she's got some secrets.
I know why. I don't know, but there's always
dirty
something.
Dog, you.
So we're running into what do you want? Do we have anything show business or observations or just no? We don't.
I do have some showbiz stuff. It's somewhat slow, but it'll give us something to talk about to maybe take us out.
Steve, you want to do observations first, or no? We got nothing with that. You took a day off from observations. You should have like
I did.
You should have a month of backlogged observations. Observances. I'm sorry.
Today's is full of a bunch of nonsense, but I'll go through them real quick here. So we have a National E-Bike Day. So if you like riding something that could potentially explode, today's your day.
E-bikes can explode? What do you mean?
Yeah, in fact, I saw a video yesterday of a gentleman who just bought an e-bike, was riding it, got about 3 blocks from his home, and it burst into flames. Yeah.
What is the what's the element that it goes? It's like
it's the lithium ion batteries that they use.
Yeah,
they're super. They're the same thing that you carry in your pocket. And from my experience with those batteries, a small battery about this big will create a 6-foot fireball for about 6 seconds. Wow. And you multiply that by the size of a bike or a car, for example, and you're driving a bomb. So
I want to do the song.
Yeah, and you're putting all that weight, and so that battery's got to work hard too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then once your crotch catches on fire from your e-bike, enjoy a nice mint julep on National Mint Julep Day.
No, I thought that was always exactly aligned with Kentucky Derby, Mint Julep Day in Kentucky. I thought that was for a reason,
I too thought that I lived in Louisville, and it was very much like that. Like on that day, all the restaurants had them; they were on sale. Like
ever, right? Have you ever had one?
Yeah.
I'd rather drink somebody's ass.
No, I'd rather drink Jack straight than a mint julep personally. But
yeah, mint julep, no good. Don't ever order them. Let's do
Give me a straw straight to your ass.
I know. What else we got? Got anything else good? Kill a Duck Day. What?
Kill a Duck Day. Yes. Fakesgiving. Get the chicken and drinks ready. It's time for us to celebrate Fakesgiving. I thought Friendsgiving was Fakesgiving on Thanksgiving. So I don't know what that's about.
I don't know what that's about. Are you concerned about eating chicken?
Oh, because of because of the
bird flu. Because of the bird flu.
I've had it, and
You've had bird
it's
flu?
bad. When COVID first started, honest to God, I can prove it with medical records. When COVID started, I got sick the first time with swine flu, and then 3 months later, I had the bird flu, and they both kicked my ass to
You were like
the
a
edge.
Guinness Book of World Records for all sorts of bad medical stuff, man.
Bro, it was the worst. And I was like, the first time I went, I'm like, please tell. They're like, well, you don't have COVID. And I was like, okay, great. What is it? They're like, swine flu. And I was like, is that better? They go, no, not really.
Not
What the fuck?
You must now eat a pound of bacon.
Well, the strain of bird flu that's out now, they have 56% of fatality rate, meaning more than half the people who get it will die from it. So that's
Yeah, it's
pretty
definitely
bad.
not the bird flu that was going around 3, 4, 5 years ago for sure. No, it's definitely mutated and you know.
It's flown.
Yeah.
That bird
And
flu is
the
flown.
last observance today, the last two are International Hug Your Cat Day.
Oh, well, you can get scratched up doing that pretty bad.
Yeah, I was
Let me
gonna
just
say
tell you.
that doesn't sound like a good idea. And I don't know why
Cats
this is
don't
a
love
thing.
being hugged.
National
Ron's
Hole in a
cat
Bucket
loves being
Day.
hugged. We saw Ron hugging his cat yesterday. You missed that. That was the highlight of yesterday's program.
You whipped your pussy out on camera?
Yep. No one can stop me.
Damn.
And the cat actually insisted on it. It was like,
Aw.
and then
You big
had the balls to
softie.
email me about when it's getting paid. I'm like, fuck you, cat. We don't pay anybody for being on this show. We're not going to stop paying that.
And the last one
Anyway.
for today is National Hole in a Bucket Day.
Hole in a bucket?
The day that pays homage to an old children's song that goes by the same name.
Right. I was going to say, I mean, what people going around intentionally putting holes in their buckets? That's a fucked up.
Whether it's a song or actual hole in bucket, both seem counterproductive. So on to you, Ron Kane.
When I will.
And now, bringing you the latest in entertainment news from Hollywood, New York, and East Bumfuck, Montana. Here's our chief entertainment correspondent, Ron Kane. Ladies and gentlemen, it's showbiz. Showbiz.
You know, that guy must be the same guy who reads Albuquerque. Albuquerque.
Albuquerque. Showbiz, everybody. Hey, starting off on a dark note in showbiz news, an actor has been charged for attempting a murder for alleged. Let me start it. An actor has been charged with attempted murder for allegedly stabbing his former girlfriend. So I'm not sure if you heard this story, but yeah, the actor's name is Nick Pascal. He's 34 years old, and allegedly he fled after the attack and was detained at the U.S.-Mexico border checkpoint in Texas.
He was running away. Well,
Yeah.
that doesn't bode for a good defense. Why were you running? You know, that's never. If he's on trial for that, it's not going to look good. We caught him at the border.
Well, this story is not too great because she's a makeup artist. Her name is Ali Shehorn, and she survived the attack, but she's in pretty rough shape. And she actually had a restraining order against this guy, and he broke into her home around 4:30 a.m. last Thursday, and he stabbed her. So she's so she was in the hospital with critical injuries, but she's still hanging on, and there is a GoFundMe out there for her.
See, now we opened up today talking about the well, not really about the differences between gay and hetero relationships. I don't know if you see gay guys doing this on like the way hetero guys just think, oh, we broke up, now I have to kill her. That kind of I'm going to break into a house and just stab her. Not like I want to get back together with her. I'm just breaking in just to stab her because if I can't have her, nobody.
Yeah. But it also, I think, like what he was saying, it also kind of speaks to like, you know, people men get territorial, and especially like with, you know, like marriage or like a girlfriend, there's just some guys that can't let it go. And yeah, it's just a sad story. So hopefully she fully recovers, but God damn.
Now, I'm just curious about this, and you probably don't know this because they probably didn't put this in the article or anything. But if he knew that she had survived, or when he ran for the border, was he thinking she was dead? Because now she's a witness. If she survived, she can tell you everything that happened. You think he knew that she survived?
He was probably hoping that she probably died. And, probably. I mean, he was probably hoping. And like, I'm going to get away with this. And she survived. And now he's, screwed, I guess.
Hoping she died. That's the my new album is coming out this week. It's called "Hoping She Died."
Yeah, because he stabbed her a bunch of times, so he's probably like, "Yeah, she ain't gonna survive this."
All right.
Yeah.
Now, what before we let that go? What was it? Was he in anything that we know?
No, I'd have to look that up, but
yeah, he's probably in General Hospital, right? That seems to be a thing with General Hospital lately.
Yeah, I mean, we could look up, and maybe there's something in his bio. It's like, oh, this should have been a sign. Maybe I don't know.
Even though you're keeping an eye on the Trump thing, the verdict is in, isn't it? He's not guilty on all counts.
The last I heard was the jury was getting everything read back to them by the judge.
Again. All right.
Merchant, this was at 9:56 a.m. Merchant begins reading jury instructions aloud.
All right, well, keep an eye on that while we continue here with showbiz.
Yeah, that's all they're going to do today is read. I'm sure that's thrilling to be in that courtroom today. So on to some sexy news. Jerry Seinfeld misses manly men. Just Jerry Seinfeld said in a podcast this week that he likes a real man and misses dominant masculinity, angering a considerable part of the online population.
I saw Derek Sheen shared that this morning, and I was wondering, does Jerry think he fits that description?
Yeah, I like the press that he's been doing. He did for Unfrosted, and like now this. It's like really weird, especially for like Seinfeld. When he started with the whole cancel culture thing, and now he misses manly men. Like, what are you talking about, Jerry?
Aren't there
men were men?
Yeah, I mean, if he's talking about like in Hollywood, aren't they, like there are still like The Rock, and there's still these macho man. Is that what he's talking about? Portrayed in movies and television? Is that what he means, or in real life? Because in real life, I mean, I'll be honest with you, guys are intimidating now. I've never seen guys who are apparently on steroids and cocaine at the same time at my gigs, where I just like, look at these guys. They come here primed to they're not for a night out. They're looking to kick somebody's ass into oblivion. Like, I'm pumped up all day at the gym. I've taken a bunch of speed and cocaine. Now I'm going out looking for trouble. I'm seeing that all over. But do you think he's talking about just in pop culture and movies and television?
Well, yeah, he's talking. I have something here. It says, like, when he's talking about, like, back in his days, like, it was JFK, it was Muhammad Ali, it was Sean Connery, Howard Cosell. You can go all the way down there.
Howard Cosell. Howard Cosell. Speaking of sports, I mean, he wasn't exactly a manly man. He was nasally. He was like a Jerry Seinfeld who liked sports.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, that's what he says. He's like, that's a real man. I want to be like that someday. Well, no, I never really grew up. You don't want to as a comedian because it's a childish pursuit, but I miss dominant masculinity. Yeah, I get the toxic, thank you, but I still like a real man.
It sounds like Jerry is really he's what happens to us when we get old. It's by nature, like your mind starts to go, and then you imagine a world that never really was, and you long for that imaginary time in your mind. It's an old man disease. They should name it something like old crotchety balls or something. But that's what sounds what's happened to Jerry. Like he's in his 70s now, and you just have to become that.
Yeah. Well, speaking of like the manly men that he's talking about, Sean Connery. This video is this should be fair use. This is news. This is from Barbara Walters.
Right. It's good to slap a woman, right?
Yeah.
With men than women.
Years ago, you did an interview, which may come back to haunt you. You know what I'm going to say, right?
No.
Okay. You did an interview in which you said, not the worst thing to slap a woman now and then. As I remember, you said you don't do it with a clenched fist. It's better to do it with an open hand. Yeah. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I didn't love that.
I haven't changed my opinion.
You haven't?
No. Not at all.
You think it's good to slap a woman?
No, I don't think it's good. I think
it's bad.
I don't think it's that bad. I think that it depends entirely on the circumstances and if it merits it. Yeah.
What would merit it?
Well, if you have tried everything else, and women are pretty good at this, they can't leave it alone. They don't want to have the last word, and you give them the last word, but they're not happy with the last word. They want to say it again, and get into a really provocative situation. Then I think it's absolutely
a little tap
to give her a good slap.
Yeah, absolutely.
What if she gives you a good slap back?
Well, then you get into another area. I mean, then maybe she's getting to like it, and then it becomes something else. I don't know. But no. Seriously, I think that it's the last resort. He's not going to do it because he wants to do it. Huh?
Oh.
Wait till people see this interview. Are you going to get mail?
Might get some female.
Maybe you're going to slap the mailman for bringing him the mail. You know what? There's an old joke about what do 1 million abused women have in common. They didn't know when to shut the fuck up. So that joke, he reminds me of that joke when he's saying, sometimes you give him the last word, but that's not enough.
Yeah. So that's the type of masculinity Jerry Seinfeld misses.
Well, somebody ought to slap Jerry. I don't think Jerry's ever been bitch slapped in his life. Maybe if he's watched that clip while being bitch slapped, he might be like, you know what?
Well, he was really everyone was still trying to drag him during the whole the Frosted thing because of his relationship with
the 17-year-old that is now
Shoshana back in the day,
49-year-old, 52-year-old or something.
Yeah, she was 17, he was like 34 or something like that at the time.
She's only double her age. Listen, so if I were just that'd be the same as me dating a 32-year-old right now, right? So not a problem. It's only half the age.
We should probably move on.
Right. No, we should probably move on. You're right. But, just wondering if Jerry's ever, I wonder if anybody's ever really slapped him, gave him a good bitch slap.
But, I kind of get what, he's saying about, masculinity and, with Jerry and where he's coming from. But I kind of feel that way with masculinity, but it's like the other side. It's like there's masculinity there, but what is happening to men that men that are following people like Tucker Carlson or Ben Shapiro? That's your problem with male masculinity right there.
Yeah, those guys are desperate for male masculinity. But so the Andrew Tate stuff, I get that he can be a role model for fucking cavemen, but Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro are like the most effeminate role models for masculinity that ever. It's like Truman Capote coming out and advocating for tanning his balls. Like, is that how you got to be like that? I don't know.
Yeah, and when you're talking the pussy shouldn't be this wet, it's like, dude, what are you even talking about? So, I mean, in that aspect, Jerry's right. There is a real big problem with male masculinity. And it's white guys like Tucker Carlson that are tucking in, t-shirts into their jeans with a belt. It's like, ugh.
But I think Jerry is dipping his toe slightly in the pool of MAGA. And I think once that toe gets in, they come in like a crocodile or alligator, and they suck it in. The whole body will be MAGA. I don't think it'll be long before Jerry starts talking about the good old days when, it was just white people in the suburbs.
Yeah. So movies opening this week. It looks like it's a fairly slow week. Actually, it looks like it's a really slow week. There's a movie called Summer Camp that's opening, which it's the cast is Kathy Bates, Diane Keaton, and Eugene Levy. So you kind of know what that is.
Eugene Levy, holy crap!
Yeah, Young Woman and the Sea. And this movie has Daisy Ridley in it from Star Wars, and the movie tells the story of Trudy. I'm probably going to fuck up her last name, Elderl, a competitive swimmer who became the first woman to ever swim across the English Channel.
Oh, you know what? I think I had her on the show. I did have her on the evening show like 2 years ago. The first woman who ever swam the English Channel.
Okay, well, this happened in 1926.
Oh no, this is not her. This is not her.
You guys may have went to school together, though.
I gotta look it up. I could have sworn the book was about her being. Oh, you know what? Maybe it was the author of her biography. That's what it was.
Yeah, and in some Diddy news, he's facing some criminal charges. Will they stick? This will be interesting because he's a black almost billionaire or a billionaire, so we'll see if the same rules apply to him. It will be interesting to see how that plays out, to see if they'll really hold him to the fire, because that's going to be a fascinating trial. I think whatever happens with
I'm fascinated by the fact that you just brought up he's a billionaire, because he came up, maybe he before the Napster stuff, where you didn't make so much money by selling music. You made it off of live performances. So, I mean, I guess if you sell enough on like streaming services, you make money, but you have to sell an awful lot. How did he become this billionaire?
Well, he came up back in the day when when albums really still meant something.
CDs and stuff, yeah, right.
Yeah, so he was like before that Napster wave. So he definitely hit, and he had some, he had success with Biggie and like the stuff with Bad Boy. But that Diddy story, that has a lot of tentacles and a lot. I mean, there's pedophilia involved, trafficking, possibly murder, all sorts of different things. So
wow, yeah. I hate to sound like the racist bastard that I am, but this hip hop culture is not good for us white people.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to turn myself into the racist prison today for saying that. You don't have to.
Yeah, but I mean, even as a white guy looking at it, I think in my opinion, I mean, even in the hip hop community, they're like, God damn, because it's like there's always been the stories and rumors, and now that the stuff is really coming out, I guess a lot of people just feel vilified by it, which I can understand why, especially if he's such a monster the way that he appears to be, the way this is looking.
It just seemed like. No, I'm going to get in trouble for this. I'm going to get in trouble for everything I say ever again in my life. But it just seems like he got bored with just beating women and just raping women. You know what? This is boring. Let me get some young white boys to do this too. I mean, I'm tired. He can only rape so many women before and beat the shit out of so many women before it gets old hat. And you just need something new to spice things up a little bit. Let me get a Justin Bieber. I mean, is that the way it goes? It just blossomed out of boredom. I'm just sick of beating the shit out of women.
I guess, I mean, that's how all the movies work when someone's got a lot of money, because the next thing you start with investing, and the next thing you know, you're like kidnapping homeless people and hunting them in the woods and stuff like that. So
I wonder what it was like. You know what? I got to try Dahmerism.
Yeah.
Oh.
What? You're not into different kind of recipe books and stuff like that. The Dahmer
I feel like that's in the strictly white guy section, and I am not taking part in it.
All right, good for you.
And the last story here, this is also a death, but I wanted to mention it yesterday because, especially since you're really into music, Matt, and I'm sure you know this, but the voice of Iron Butterfly died.
Wow.
And, Doug Engel.
In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, baby. A 28-minute side of a song, and then you have to turn the album over to hear the rest of the song. I think it was a 53 minutes, the entire song. In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, which was mumbled. It was supposed to say "In the Garden of Eden," and it just came out "In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida." Well, good for him.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, he was 78. They don't announce the cause of death, but he was 78.
He's 78. That's the cause of death.
Yeah,
that'll do it.
That'll do it.
So at least, that wasn't. I wasn't a teenager or really around, or just a baby during that time. But I'm sure that guy helped a lot of dudes finger their girlfriends at the time, and heavy makeout sessions when that record was on.
Yeah. Wow.
So that'll do it for showbiz, everybody.
Showbiz. You know what? Ron just went completely Aiden Gabor there. He was in the witness protection program for ratting out on the showbiz, and Diddy did that to him.
Oh, he's been diddied.
I am shocked that we still have movies coming out every weekend. You know what? Especially before school's out. I think they want to wait till school's out to get the crowds, but every single weekend there are still movies coming, even though they're not the biggest, not expected to be blockbusters. Somebody says, that's a good week to release a movie, the end of May.
Yeah, and there's another horror movie opening this week. That movie, In a Violent Nature, that is opening. And I'm not sure if just some side notes, like 2 weeks ago, I talked about this movie about tarot cards that was released in theaters. That's actually coming out, being released on streaming this week, or it's already been released, like 2 weeks later.
James Balacero, I think that's his name. He's been on the program. He's a director he does horror, titty and gore movies, horror movies, but his movies go straight to Walmart. They don't even go to streaming services. They go straight to Walmart.
Like DVDs, or like they're
Blu-ray disc, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but he does very well with it, and he has like a lot of B-level celebrities and all this kind of stuff that he gets to be in them. I had Jess Paul, who was co-host for a brief period of time. I told, because she's an actress, and I said, he might be a good person to talk to. She's like, no, I'm not having anything to do with him. Just the creepy fact that he insists that his actresses have titties out, basically he's a titties and gore guy. But I'm not saying you should be in one of his movies. I'm saying he might, because he funds people's projects, independent projects and stuff like that, and gets them distributed. You can just belittle the Walmart distribution model, but it makes him money. If it's going to make you money off your art, I'm all for any of that crap.
Yeah, if that's why? If that's your job and that's your day job and dream, it might be Walmart, but at least you're doing what you like every day.
Yeah, it's better than just going straight to YouTube and getting 6 cents for a billion, whatever you get.
Yeah,
not a lot of money. So GD will be back with us tomorrow. Hopefully, his ass. They might say what's causing all this ass cancer that you have is the stool you're sitting on. Maybe you should get a chair like Matt has.
Well, as long as it has nothing to do with his massive collection of dildos.
Well, I kept telling him.
That could definitely, if his doctor got a load of all the toys he has, maybe that would give him some new perspective on what's causing all this ass problems. I'm just saying, I don't even know that he has ass problems. It's all conjecture at this point. I've changed the name of the guilty just to protect G.D. Fenderson, who has ass cancer.
Oh man!
I guess I should have a defamation lawyer, right? I need a defamation lawyer now for saying that.
Probably a couple of them.
Yeah,
one for GD, one for his ass.
All right, now Jackie Martling is at Uncle Vinny's tomorrow night. He wanted me to plug that, and I'm a little bit late on it. Jackie will be on the program Tuesday.
Yay!
Tuesday, last week I was at Catch in Lindenhurst, and some guy came up to me and goes, "Oh man, I'm a big fan of your show. I listen all the time." I was like, "Oh, that's nice. I've heard that before. Like I could test you on that." He said, "You've had Jackie Martling on a couple of times, right?" I was like, "Well, I know you're full of shit now. You're not a big fan. You don't listen, because if you knew, Jackie's had me on a couple of times. He's been on the show more than I have. So if you're listening now, which I doubt you are, because I think you lied to me, you're not a big fan. You listened 3 or 4 times. Jackie has been on more than any other guest. He will be here Tuesday, and I have no idea what I'm going to talk to him about, because I know every fucking story the guy's ever shared at this point. I'm like almost in his head. So where I'm going to with that plug for Jackie tomorrow night. You guys got things this weekend. Steven, you got a show coming up tonight, right?
I do. I have the Urban Update comedy show tonight, which will also be debuting 2 skits that I shot over the last week.
Hold on. You said Urban. You're in Indiana, right?
Correct.
Do they know even what Urban is, or is that about Keith Urban?
Oh, I live in Fort Wayne, baby. We're the town of mall shootings and
in between corn stalks, they have like malls.
Yeah, man.
I mean, how does that work? Urban.
Yeah, we got
Indiana? And electricity too.
Get out of here! You fucking.
We even have AC, guys. Take that.
Atlantic City is in New Jersey, dude.
But yeah, so I got that show tonight. We're debuting a couple of skits that we shot over the last week, and then Saturday, I have another show at the Fort Wayne Comedy Club, which will be more or less a final audition to become a regular at the club.
Very cool. And, now you're like on some advisory board there for people who need chairs and stuff, right?
Yeah, I guess I impressed enough that not only do they want me back regularly, but they want my help to help make the club more accessible, not just for myself, but for any other handicapped comics that might come through or whatever.
Are you friends with Joe Urell on Twitter? I know you're on Twitter. Are you friends with Joe Urell? Follow him?
I don't think so.
I'm going to recommend that, because Joe is like so full of anger and bitterness. He's in a chair. He's got, I think he has muscular dystrophy. Oh, it's one of MS something that, but so his situation is not the same as yours. But he's so accessibility for handicapped comedians is his #1 issue, and it's just so full of anger. I think it would do him some good to know that there are people like you out there who are impressing comedy clubs enough that they're asking you to advise them on how we can make this better. For that might cheer him up a little bit. Might actually take some of his bitterness away. Anyway.
Well, I mean, we've talked about it before, okay? And of course, I think you're within your right to be upset when you can't go do the thing you want to do in the way everyone else does it. But there's a way to go about it. If you're just going to be an asshole and you're going to put people on blast, you're going to burn bridges, you're going to get little to nothing in return but a bunch of hate and nobody wanting to work with you. And can you blame it on the wheelchair? Sure, because you're blaming it on the wheelchair. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, at the end of the day, if you're a comic, as long as someone gives you a mic, it doesn't matter what the fuck you're on. Just do your job. Go have some fun. Make people have some fun with you, you know? And you go about it the right way, you can make some changes. You can be the change you want to be. If you want to be an asshole, so be it.
Well, Ian just gave me something to talk to Jackie about next week, because I did not know Brendan had him back on World Record Podcast, so that'll be good. Now Ron is we already mentioned packing his bag for Albuquerque or something. Albuquerque. But
we can't say that.
in between now and Tuesday, we have a weekend. Are you doing anything this weekend?
Yes, this tomorrow night, Friday night in New Cumberland, Pennsylvania. Friday night stand up is at Fratelli's, and it looks like we're going to be on the deck. The deck will be opened, and it should be. I'm expecting a packed out house because my RSVPs for this show are through the roof, and so we should be very busy that night. So I'm very excited about that.
Very cool. Now, is
Oh
the
yeah.
deck?
There it is. You whipped it out again. Ooh, that's cute.
Is the deck?
That it?
Is the deck big, hard, and will it be wet? You like a big, hard, wet deck?
Yeah,
My deck is. I can tell you what.
It should be nice and big and hard. Hopefully, not too wet in the beginning.
No, yeah.
Now, do you expect a lot of people to be riding your big, hard, wet deck, or do you expect it to be very sparse?
No, it should be a full house.
New Cumberland. Where is that? Like in relation to? I know where Philadelphia is. I know where Pittsburgh is. I know where Allentown is because Billy Joel sang about it.
Yeah.
Where is New Cumberland, Pennsylvania?
Central Pennsylvania. Harrisburg is the capital. New Cumberland is the right across the bridge.
All right across
Where's
the bridge.
Old Cumberland?
Very
Yeah,
cool.
I don't know.
Well, I hope it is packed. It seems like you know what, RSVPs are generally an indication. If you get a lot of them, you know that at least half of those are going to show up. I mean,
Yeah, the amount that I got is it's very strong. So I'm very happy with that. Then with those people, then the other people we normally get, yeah, it should be a good show. I put on a damn good show. That's why.
All right.
When are we going to do a Mind Dog comedy show? That's what I want to know, man. Get us
What,
all
what,
together
what,
and
what does
do
that
a thing.
mean? What does that
I don't
mean?
know, just get us all together and put on a show, man. I don't know. Ron's the organizer. Ron, you figure it out.
Well, let me
I'm just
tell
a
you
comic.
something. You are like 1,000 miles away. Ron is like 400 miles away or 300 miles away, something like that.
But I have plane ticket credits that I got to use at some point. So
you know what? All right, I'll put something together, but it's going to be closer to me than any of you. Like nowhere it's not going to be in Ohio or Indiana or.
No, I don't want to do shit here.
You know
I want to
what?
go away from here. I want to go away from
Soul
here.
Joe's. I could probably, or Uncle Vinny's in Jersey. I could probably line up something there. But anyway, yeah. So good luck with that, man. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I am going to be playing a yacht club. Oh no, this weekend. Oh, here's the deal. Tomorrow night, I'm at a church at Our Lady of Assumption festival. It's like here's the deal. Like 2004, we were playing there, and there was a priest was watching us the whole time, and the Italian mob guy who put the whole thing together and got us there. And we played Ballad of John and Yoko, which has the line in the Christ, you know it ain't easy, you know how hard it could be, the way things are going, they're going to crucify me. The priest was already upset with us at that point. And then we played one of my songs called Church on Sunday, and the hook line in that is Raise Hell. And we had like 1,000 people in the back of a church were going, Raise Hell! And so we got banned. We got banned from ever playing there again. But then right before COVID, the priest and the mob guy both died, and we were allowed back in there. But then COVID happened. We were off for a couple of years. Now we've been playing it. This is our third year in a row back there. Hopefully we'll stay out of trouble.
So no
That's
Judas
tomorrow
Priest
night.
or Ozzy, huh?
Yeah. But that's always a very weird thing. People are taking rides. You got your Zeppelis, you got your sausage and peppers trucks and all that kind of stuff all around. People are just there for the experience, not necessarily for the band. It's our job to kind of get them interested in us, and it's always raffles and all that stuff. And then what do I have on Saturday? Saturday's Gocciadoro. Gocciadoro too. So just a restaurant gig. That's my plug. So you guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we have a decent show again. You know what? The mob stuff. I think the better author today was the gay guy.
Oh yeah,
I think the gay guy was the star of the show. He was really cool. I really enjoyed him, and I think I think he would have been one of the gay guys I probably could have like had dinner with alone and not been weirded out by it,
I don't know. I think you would have fallen for the English before you would have been like
Man.
ordering appetizers, and before the appetizers got there, you'd be
My
on.
pants would have been off.
You'd be
Game
all
over.
over his dick.
I would have been like, I was saving my ability to stand for my kid's wedding, but this sounds way better. Let's go.
No, the waitress would come over and say, "Would you like an appetizer?" And you'd say, "No, I think I'll just have cock."
Yeah.
Well, tomorrow,
Bobby,
just wrapping this up here. Tomorrow, we have a comedian who his claim to fame is he's a friend of Stephen Ortiz. Jacob White will be here, and then the judge who couldn't talk to us last time because his communication was. He'll be in the second hour. We'll keep that one short. It's just going to be a 10-15 minute interview about his book. GD has some legal questions they want to ask him, and probably.
I was about to say, are we going to let him ask questions again?
Yeah, and then we'll just goof off and like make fun of everybody after.
Yeah, you got to do it like GD though. So let me ask you.
Let me ask you: if a lawyer and has client privilege, look at Steven's ass up there. Holy shit!
Hey, get out of there. That's for the author. All right.
Yeah. All right. I'm kicking you guys out. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
See ya.
Bye. Jacob White tomorrow, and Stephen McGuire, Judge Stephen McGuire, former Judge Stephen McGuire, tomorrow. Thanks for being here. I don't have a show tonight. I'm trying to fix the website. If you hear me swimming to Vietnam to kill somebody, you know what that's all about. Anyway, I'm trying to find my little turn on your radio because I want to tell you, till tomorrow, don't forget to turn on your radio. Bye for now.
I
to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen.